Good evening, folks. Welcome to Interrogation, a new show that we're trying out on our Night Court platform. I've got Jason in here. You guys know him. I've got Lamar and Lucian. I'm just going to say Lucian. I'm not going to say your full name, your full mama given name there, Lucian. But Jason is former law enforcement officer. I myself I am a former law enforcement officer. But I'm going to pass it around. Let these guys tell you what their experiences are in interrogations. But that's what we're going to do tonight. We've got an interrogation video. It's a rather long one. We're going to jump into it. The comments are open for just like we do for our police video review show, use of force show. The comments will be open. Anybody wants to make comments in it, but we're going to watch this video and stop and talk about some of the tactics and the tacticians or the tactical plays maybe the officers are using. This, in fact, is a criminal interrogation, which is different than other types of interrogations. If it was for, say, intelligence purposes, some different rules apply. But I want to go to Jason first. Jason, tell everybody who you are and your experience with interrogations.
I'm not retired yet, Joe. I got about, I think it's 6 paychecks left until that day.
Did I say retired? I meant to say another R word. My bad.
You're good. As far as interrogation goes, street level law enforcement, investigations, and then lieutenant of investigations for about 6 years, undercover narcotics, a lot of interrogations in that field as well. So more of the law enforcement, local level types of crimes, ranging from missing children to homicides, CSCs, which is criminal sexual conduct, down to your simple theft. With 30 years in law enforcement, I've done it quite a bit, and that's about me. Thanks.
Any formal training that your department sends you any classes for interrogation or conducting interviews?
Reed school, yeah, probably about a half a dozen over the course of the years. DEA classes, FBI classes, all on interrogations and interviews. But in all honesty, I learned more actually doing it than any class could teach me.
Right. My point is, though, there is actual training in schools and certifications that you get just for this. There's a whole lot that goes into an interrogation. I guess is what I was trying to say. It's not just something that, hey, this guy's good at it, send him in there. Sometimes it is that case, but for the most part, there is a strategy to it. Let's go to Lamar. Lamar, what's your connection to interrogations?
So I am a former U.S. Army, former U.S. intelligence community in the Department of Defense. I was a 0132, which is a counterintelligence officer for the Defense Intelligence Agency. The vast majority of my time doing CI stuff and things was at Quantico, so that's where I did all my train up, and that was basically my home base for supporting counter espionage operations, CONUS, and then doing some stuff and things CONUS that I'll dance around a little bit. But the part of the CONUS mission was obviously supporting FBI investigations.
Well, let's talk about what CONUS stands for. Tell us what CONUS.
My apologies. Yes, thank you for slapping me because I will jump into acronyms quick. So CONUS is Continental United States. So within the United States of America, the FBI's mission partly was to identify and mitigate the threat of foreign intelligence entities, FIE. From Quantico, our job in supporting them was helping them understand what critical equities those foreign intelligence entities were going after. A bridge to that was supporting the Department of Defense's insider threat mission. So basically trying to catch spies and figure out what tradecraft was being employed, what they were trying to sell to our adversaries and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's my background.
And you as well have had training in formal interrogation.
Indeed, yeah. So basically, the spin up training at Quantico covers just a ton of the stuff. They don't call it. They didn't call it the Reed course down at Quantico, but it involved all the techniques. It's just like in there was a joke in the military. The U.S. Army actually doesn't call it the Heimlich. They call it chest compressions or something, because of some weird copyright or trademark, whatever, something. But yeah, all of the techniques that when I spoke to my counterparts in the FBI, we all learned the same stuff to varying degrees.
You're right. They don't call it the Heimlich.
You're correct.
It's something diaphragm. There is another name for it. I didn't know that was what it was. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Didn't know that. We've all learned something here tonight, folks, already. Let's go to Lucian. Lucian, what's your connection to interrogations?
I'll just admit up front that I'm going to be the boring one. I can't share too much of what I do because I'm still active in a few things. So I don't have formal interrogation training. What I have is elicitation training. And the distinction there really comes down to what your goals are and how you develop your relationship with whoever you're talking to. So,
okay, use a big word. Tell us what it means.
Okay, so elicitation is just simply trying to get somebody to do something that you want them to. Typically, not something they would consider doing on their own. It can either be disclosure of information or it can be taking action. And let's see what I can tell you about that. So my role has typically been to not let people know that I'm trying to get information from them. And so the difference with an interrogation is clearly the subject has an idea that there's an authority figure involved and that they want certain kinds of information, typically about a specific event. In my case, I'm trying to find who might be an issue for a particular operation or program or any other ongoing event. What their relationship is.
You would employ that in human asset development, right?
Yes. Not like your typical movie screen asset, though. Like I said, the people that I deal with pretty much never know that they're part of a larger puzzle.
Yes, sir. But I guess my point is, you employ these interrogation or this chess game that I speak of a lot when it comes to this, because a lot of times I feel that's what it is. It's a bit of a chess game. What do you know? In the interrogator or the facilitator in this case is going to employ things to invoke feelings, emotions. They're going to put things on the right. They're using things against you, and it's almost, if you're sitting in the seat is hot, I would imagine. But if you're sitting in that hot seat, that you got a whole lot coming down on you. But my point is that you employ some of these same tactics.
Yes, quite a bit. But like I said, it's just almost never in a closed room.
Closed room is advantage interrogator, I'll tell you. Okay, guys, we're going to get right to this. We have there's literally over 3 hours of video. We're not going to be able to go through all of it tonight or at all. We're going to fast forward through some of it. We'll talk about what they're doing, their foundation. This is like, I grew up like you and we're buddies and stuff. I'm just like you type of stuff. And then, but we're going to cover all the key points in it. The first thing I want to cover, and I'm not giving out any information. This is about a murdered 12-year-old little girl. That's the investigation that these detectives or officers, if you want to call them, are engaged in. And we've just got the interrogation videos. So here is the first one.
Okay. We're investigating that missing girl from the apartment complex. And we've been talking to a ton of people, canvassing the area, trying to get everybody to, give samples of DNA. I have a consent to search if you would be willing to do a DNA swab.
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. No?
Sure.
Or yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
I didn't know if you said no or yes. All right. Today's date is the 7th of June. Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
I will let this run, but I'm going to turn this down. She's going to do some paperwork because she just asked him for a DNA sample through a buccal swab where they swab the inside of your mouth.
Instructions.
This is prior to the interrogation beginning. He is in custody. It means he's not necessarily free to leave.
If you do consent to such search, any evidence observed.
So now she's getting a consent search. Jason, is there a tactic in there by asking for DNA evidence even before you talk to the guy?
Your refusal cannot be used against you unless you consent to such search.
Yeah, the way the room's laid out, his posture actually, I think he's probably been in trouble before in his life. He's been through this before.
Well, no, you're jumping ahead. Let's just talk about the buccal swab. What? Tell me about the buccal swab. Why would you want to get that prior instead of waiting after you talk to him? It's like, oh well, he might have something to do with this, so let's get the buccal swab.
you're building your case up front. If you want a DNA swab before he feels jammed up, I think it's a perfect opportunity to, if he feels relaxed, and say, hey, we're just trying to make sure you're not a suspect, and to clear that up, we need to,
So you're
get a
saying
swab.
you're more likely to get consent before you start going into an interrogation where it could get dicey.
Absolutely.
May not be friends at the end of that.
No, he's comfortable now. Now's the time to do it.
Okay. Lucian, what about that? And do you, I mean, and if you guys don't understand what we're talking about, or we use a term just like I do, I'll ask you, correct me or ask it. But the buccal swab is basically he just gave up his DNA without a warrant. He consented for them to take a sample of his DNA, and they're doing this prior to the interview. Do you see a tactic there?
Yeah, if it's intentional, the approach there is to try and gauge their level of trust. If I'm doing it and I'm asking somebody to commit to something that would normally be protected in some way, like if they would have to get permission, let's say, I would be doing that just to find out how compliant they are and whether or not they understand the scope of the situation.
Okay, Lamar, what do you think?
1000%. So as soon as I saw her do that, my first thought was she's trying to gauge how compliant he will be up front. He could have made a hell of a stink out of that by just saying no. And she even offered to him, you do not have to comply with this. But the fact that he was just kind of, I don't want to say he was nonchalant, but open. If I were in this interview, I would think we've got some calm seas ahead, just initially.
Right, that you could have some success with building a rapport with the guy, and getting the buccal swab in the beginning is more likelihood that you're successful getting the consent to do so. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I agree with everybody, everything everyone said, but there's another component to this. By getting the buccal swab, how long do most civilians think it takes to get a DNA sample back? That's right, CSI. They'll have it back within an hour. So
it depends on the case. They'll rush a homicide.
My point is, your interviewee doesn't know that.
No, it's not going to be in an hour.
Right. This is actually, I hadn't been to read school, but I think this is actually a read school tactic, is to get that stuff so that later on during you're teetering on the edge, you can't get the guy to break. You have somebody send you a piece of paper. It's like, hey, remember that buccal swab I got from you earlier? Yeah. All right. Do we want to start over? Let me make this easier for you, and have them think that the DNA matched. Not saying they're doing it in this particular case. Okay, so we've got the Jason. Let's go over the interview room real quick. Set that up for us. Because they built this, and this is the only room they had, and that desk just happens to fit in there, and this is just the best way to set this up, or is there any strategy in how to set the interview room up?
No, this is all by design. And this, 2017, it's changed a little bit over the last couple of years. I know for a fact, because when we designed a police department, this design has changed to be a little more relaxing, and I think this one is a little more to give an uncomfortable feel. This is 2 against 1, isolated in a corner, kind of make them feel like nervous a little bit. And I think if this guy, and again, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but if this guy was not in this position before, a person that for the first time, this would be very intimidating.
Okay, so the room is staged. It's set up in an advantage police, and derps. We don't know yet. We're doing them this is going to be an interrogation. We're going to see where it goes. I'm not going to give up the results of the interrogation.
If I could just say really quickly, Joe. So another thing I noticed about the room setup is, yes, he's boxed into a corner, but from a body language observation standpoint, he's in the perfect position. He can stretch his legs out. He can pull himself in. He can open up a little bit. So as his stress levels are changing, and that kind of passive physiology takes over, he's completely exposed. Like there's no hiding any of it.
No, you're right. You may skip into the kill zone, but you're probably not going to skip out of it. I'll say even more. They've got the handcuff loop, the shackle on the table. They've also got a mat there. They don't allow him to use that table, put your elbows on, or use it for any comfort. The way this room is set up. Okay, they've just gone through and got consent for him to search or to conduct the interview. They've read him his rights. He understands that he has the right to remain silent and be interviewed with the presence of an attorney. So keep that in mind. On the law enforcement side, these officers, you just can't go in there and ramrod it. He's like, I want an attorney. Then everything's over with. So if you're trying to solicit the story, if there's information that you need out of the suspect, you've got to do this dance, and we're going to listen to him do it here because they started off right off the get, this male and female detective.
Okay. And you work at Frick Car?
Yes.
What is your schedule at work?
Work night shift.
One more thing. I want you guys to pay attention to the pauses. Pay attention to the pauses now, but pay attention throughout this entire interview on the pauses. There's a reason.
Go in time between 3:30 and 5, and we work like till like 8 hours is up. Or if we have like a long night, they work like 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
Okay. So you usually go in about 3:30 or 5 in
Between
the
3:30 and 5.
afternoon, and then you get off usually about what time?
Between the hours of maybe 11:30 and 1:30, somewhere.
Okay. 1 to 1:30?
Yeah.
Okay. What about like days of the week do you work?
Sunday through Thursday.
That's a regular, you don't switch
Yeah.
around like
No.
weekends or anything like that?
Unless only time I may, because I'm usually off on Fridays and Saturdays, but I'm always off on Saturdays. May work a Friday if like one of the guys on day shift needs to be off Friday. He may work for me like one night, and I work for him like that Friday. Other than that, that's it.
Okay. I know they went through it already, but did you work that Wednesday that Naomi went missing? The
That
initial
Wednesday
day?
night, yes.
You worked that Wednesday night? What time did you work that night?
We went in a little after 5.
Okay, so 5:10, 5:15,
We clocked in like 5:36.
5:36. Who's we? Just everybody like a group?
Well,
of
it's
you
just
coming
me
in
and
at
one
once?
other guy that works there at night, because we just set up everything to be prepared for the next day.
What's his name?
Jeffrey Lambert.
Lambeth?
Yes.
Does he live in Burton?
He lives in Flomaton.
Flomaton? Do you know his number? By chance?
I'm going to pause this because you want to hear some of what he's saying here. So they're getting a story. They're establishing a baseline on a timeline. This was a little girl, 12 years old, abducted from an apartment complex. She was this gentleman here. He's talking about his hours. He works at night or goes to work early in the morning, and he lives in the same apartment complex. And so they're interviewing or conducting an interrogation or interviewing him about the offense. So they've just established a kind of a timeline of where he would have reason to be at that time of day.
Top of your head?
If I'm not mistaken, 727-1533. They got my phone. I don't know
Okay.
if they still have my phone. Send my phone.
Okay.
And
So
not to mention
5:30
coworkers
p.m.
they
Wednesday
can
the
call and talk to
31st.
about his
You
habits.
clocked in at work. Okay. And when do you remember what time you got off that night?
Whenever the 8 hours is up, like I say, whether we get through early or whatever, whenever the 8 hours is up, that's when we got off, and we got through before the 8 hours was up. So that would put us like 1:30.
So just one thing, Joe, I think is interesting is they're gauging how willing he is to provide specifics with this line of question as the baselining continues.
All right. And earlier, before you went to work that day, where'd you wake up in the morning?
Here, alone.
Over at this apartment?
Yes.
Okay, so you woke up at the apartment over here. What time would you say you woke up?
It was early. It was early in the morning. The exact time I really don't know, but it was early in the morning.
Before 9?
Yes, before 9.
Okay. Before 8?
Between about 7. I'll say about 7.
Oh, James on
7.
X is
I don't sleep past
he's
8.
taking good notes. He starts at 3 in the afternoon and clocks
And
out
then
around
what'd you two do?
11
Well, I
p.m.
went
to
to work. I went
1:30
to
a.m.
that morning.
What gym?
Real time fitness
Where's that at?
on 9 miles.
And what time were you there?
I'll say I was there about 9:30.
You have to use like a key card or
Yeah, that's on
anything.
my car keys. They got those too, and I didn't get anything in the car.
So you have to like
You have to
swipe.
scan yourself in. Yes.
What time did you take Lauren to work?
She drove her own car to work.
You didn't take her?
I didn't take her to work. I just went and
I
got her
thought
on
they
her
had
lunch
said
break. I just went and picked her
Oh,
up
okay.
on
That's
lunch
where I
break.
was confused a little bit. Okay. So she took herself to work.
Mhm.
What does she drive?
She drives a Honda.
Okay, we're gonna bounce
Small
forward. They're
gray
gonna come
Honda.
back
It's
to
not a
the
Gray?
girlfriend
It's
and
gray?
the car,
Okay.
but in the end, it's not going to be as important as some of the other things we can see. Like I say, this video is 3.5 hours. We're not going to be able to watch it minute per minute, and then a lot of it, I think, honestly, would be quite boring because there's some tactics in here that are kind of meant to be that way.
It was more of I made her than it being consensual to the point of because we have been doing this the whole.
And grabbed your raincoat,
Grabbed
boots,
my
and then
gear.
immediately back to the
That's when I grabbed everything. I came out the door. When I came out the door, came downstairs. That's when the little girl's mom and another older lady stopped and asked me if I had seen the little girl. And I told them, no, I just came down to the apartment. And that's when she told me her daughter was missing. And I talked with them for a few minutes, and I told her I'm not being rude, but I got to go to work. And I left.
Okay. So how long would you say you were at the apartment complex when you came back over there?
It wasn't 10 minutes.
Okay.
Just long enough to grab.
Would you say you were at? And what time would you say you got there?
I said if I left at 1:30, we got about maybe like 2:35, 2:40. Because you
What vehicle did you?
always drive my vehicle to work.
Which one?
The Nissan Altima.
Okay. So you were in that car that night?
Yes, I'm in that car every night.
Okay.
I got a question.
Mhm.
'Cause I've been, is my house and vehicle going to be searched? Because
Yes.
I've been looking, okay, that's all I'm asking. 'Cause
Yes.
I haven't cleaned it. Everything is still
Yes,
the same.
that's what they're doing right now. So
that's what I've been waiting on. It's just like I
Well,
told
not-
you today.
yeah,
I
your
mean, I know you're
house,
not saying it, and I know
apartment.
why y'all was taking precautions because of
Yeah.
my status. And like I say, I just been waiting on this to happen because I knew it was gonna happen. So that's all I wanted to know. That's fine.
What is your background or your history or
Well,
whatever?
when I was in I got out of high school, me and the girl was messing around. She got pregnant, and her grandmother is like a minister or whatever. So it was more of I made her than it being consensual to the point of because we have been doing this the whole summer. And so I said I copped out because I didn't have the money to try to afford a lawyer, so I had to cop out.
All right, so Jason nailed it right off the get. The guy was too comfortable in an interrogation room. He's been handled. He's been in this type of situation before. But I think for you, and what you guys can tell me what you think about it. I think someone who has a criminal history, you're going to learn here in a second that he spent 15 years in the penitentiary for raping 2 women at the same time, actually. And he is, by the time he's sitting here in 2017, he was released from prison in 2014. And I say all this to say is that those 2 detectives, they knew that before they sat down. So I think there is also a point of this is something solid that I can gauge his truthfulness. How much responsibility does he take for it? And we'll hear how much responsibility he actually took for the actual crime. But just want to make a point that that's a point for Jason. Jason nailed it. Absolutely, he's been handled before. 15 years is no joke in a penitentiary.
I did 15 years,
How old were you?
like 18 years old,
And how old was she?
like 17.
Okay. What year was that?
1998.
Just really quick, so the series of questions, we would call them
What was the
control
charge?
questions. The officers already know the
First degree
answers,
rape.
but they're just
First
trying to
degree
determine
rape.
how honest he's going to be.
And that was in Alabama.
Yes.
That's one thing I've learned
She's
between
17
spooks
years.
and police officers. You guys have fancy words for it, and we
How
describe
long
people.
had y'all had a relationship?
I
You're
apologize.
100% correct. And if actually, you know what? I think I probably heard control
Mm.
questions at some
Ooh.
point. It's just not a term we picked up.
We started messing around this summer, so, I mean, we knew each other, for years. So,
Did y'all go to the same school?
Yeah, we went to the same school. Yeah.
What school?
TR.
Okay. She live near you? Did y'all hang out? Or?
Well,
So,
we,
Lucian, what do you think? What do you think about how
started
he's
messing around when
responding
I was
to
playing the
his
3-on-3
culpability in a
tournament,
crime he's been
35-6 years.
convicted and spent 15 years
So
in
we
the
see each
penitentiary
other.
for?
Really, it was just something.
I'm sorry. Could you
Throw it
pause
out
the
there,
video and ask your
but
question again?
being a
I'm having
pastor.
trouble hearing the difference.
When you say you started,
I asked, what do you think about the way he's responding to these questions about an offense that he was convicted and spent 15 years in the penitentiary for? How much is he owning it? What is that telling? If you're doing the interrogation, what would that be telling you about him?
Well, first of all, I'd be filtering that through the fact that he's already been asked these questions a million times and gone through a process. And so he's likely had, we'll just skip ahead and call it training. So he knows how to respond to a lot of these things. So at this point in this interaction, I'm listening a little bit less to the actual things that he's saying and more to the physical behaviors that he's showing me while he's saying some things. And if you look, that he has almost entirely stayed pressed against the back wall there. His shoulders are up a little bit. He is very much on guard, and he's trying to put bounds on what he expresses. So I guess I'm a little less concerned about the words that he's saying in taking culpability. And I'm more looking at how can I set him up to divulge more information later on.
I don't disagree with that. I think there's another tactic there. When someone, you can look at a criminal history, you know the details of the crime, and these detectives knew before they went in. They know the answer to every question that they're asking from what year did it happen. But they're also listening to him tell the story because now he's mitigating it. It's like, I'm not really a bad guy. It's kind of like I was dumb. I kind of got caught up in some stupid stuff. I was messing with this girl. Her grandma was real religious. So I was like statutory rape, but they know it's not statutory rape. You don't get 15 years for statutory rape.
Right.
So, I think he was almost peer age with the victim. So that means we're talking forcible rape.
Right. But remember, my perspective in all of this is how can I use this person in the future? I'm not.
I hadn't gotten there yet.
Well, I know, but the relationship between the subject and the observer and the interrogator in this case is very different than what I normally participate in. So I'm spitballing a little bit.
He's teaching you how he's going to talk about an uncomfortable conversation.
Yes.
He's training you on how he's going to respond to it. So it depends on how you, as an interrogator, you can dance all the way around it and be waved off because he's going to try to wave you off by mitigating things. But let's.
Can I interject real quick?
You bet. Go ahead, Jason.
The one thing I noticed in this line of questioning was I watched him go. He's flipped into self-preservation mode when they were asking him questions about the past crime. He started to defend himself, and that picking up on he's downplaying what happened. He's now in self-preservation mode.
Yeah, I think he realizes they know the full gig that he's been convicted of what you might call strong arm or forcible sexual assault on 2 women in the same night. And he realizes they know what's up. So I think that brings in the guard. But he's also expecting that, I think. Let's keep going.
and seeing her in the summer, is that like, do you mean right after you graduate or got out of school, or did you start seeing her in the summer before school ended?
Just like I seen her all through school, but it was nothing, ever said or done. But like that summer, we started hooking up.
All right, I'm going to bump it through because he's going to talk about
How many times did y'all hook
how he
up
became a
before
convicted
y'all got caught?
molester.
Howard.
Who?
POH angel.howard@gmail.com. I got a Yahoo account as well.
Who's that?
LaTroy Howard@yahoo.com.
LaTroy?
Yeah, LETRY Howard@yahoo.com.
We're just getting email addresses.
What's Lauren's phone number?
601-874-0418.
It's just something for people to pay
Is that her
attention
cell
to as you
phone?
watch this.
Okay.
I'm picking up his
Alright,
body
so she
language.
has her cell phone
He
this is
catches
your
himself
cell.
shifting into that corner, which is suggests that he's like, it's evasive. He's trying to get away, and that's that physiological
The
response that
missing
you can't
girl,
really control until you catch them.
Have you ever seen her
And
around
then
the
even the
complex, or-
interrogators,
See her
their
all the
tone
time
of their
when we were in and
voice,
out.
very monotone, non-emotional, no real
We're
inflection.
either
That's
playing
designed
between the
to
complexes
keep the
or
heat
on
in the
her
room
mom's back
down,
balcony, because
so
she
he
went up
doesn't
the
get
steps
too
to
wild.
see their balcony or their back porch.
Absolutely. And
From
during
the
this
balcony,
time period of an
they would always speak
interrogation,
whenever we were coming in and out. Other than that, that's about it.
this also,
dancing?
let me pause that. This is also where you're going to get some, what I call stones, something I can go out and put my hand on. Do you have a key card at work you have to swipe to get in and out the door? Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks. Well, now I know that. If I need to go vet up anything that he says, at least I can start with, we're in a place that I can touch. I know this happened. And if I go there and he swiped in, then I can rest assured pretty much he was there. Unless I can find some other reason why maybe it was jerry rigged or manipulated. But also like email addresses, it's difficult to get subscriber information. Try to get everyone's email address. He'll give that up right now, and all the phones that you got. Yeah, give me all that up stuff right now. But I'll also say that if unless he's worried about this child pornography, which I don't, probably not on his email accounts, for him, this feels like this is going to be part of his charade. If he's lying, we don't know if he's lying or not. But if he's lying, this will be part of his charade as far as, look how honest I am. When he can be honest, he will be extremely honest and extremely helpful.
Yeah, we call locking him into a story.
Well, they be back there playing most of the time when I see them.
Let him tell his story, and let's prove his story wrong.
She does a lot of dancing.
Get him committed to something.
That's what we said back.
Was she friendly? I mean,
She always spoke. I mean, I said, other than that, that's pretty much all I know about her. I said she would always speak. If she seen us, she would speak. Regardless if we seen her or not, she would let us know that she was there. She would speak.
So that's him talking about the victim in the apartment
Did she
complex.
ever come over to y'all's apartment or anything?
She's definitely not our apartment.
So
We've
maybe
never been to Lawrence. If she has, she's been there when I wasn't there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Lauren told me one day that they missed the bus and they came and used her phone to call their mom to let her know they missed the bus. Other than that, that's all I know about being there.
okay.
So she's never been in Lauren's apartment other than
Not when I
at
was
the
there.
door.
Not when I was there.
Okay. What about, have they ever been in your cars?
No.
Either one of your cars?
Go, Jason. Talk to us about that.
They are putting him that she's never been in his car, and if they find Dean in his car, that's another, again, locking him into a story, proving his story wrong.
Absolutely.
Did you see that girl that Wednesday at all?
No, sir.
When was the last time you saw her?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe like it may have been that weekend, maybe between Friday and Sunday. Somewhere up in there, because I was off. And they've been like that Friday, Saturday. So
That's him.
Staying
That's him
there.
trying to figure out the
Yeah, you come
low
down.
energy answer.
How
Describe that.
He's
often
given
do you
himself
see
some
her?
leeway, so in case there's a mistake, oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah, he's
if you-
so,
okay. With
I mean, like I said before, this gets clearly understanding
regulations of what I can and can't do.
that some of these
I'm allowed
questions might
stay
be used to
anywhere
set him up, so
3
he's trying to
days,
leave him
no
some
more than 3
space.
days. So I'll stay like
Right, but he
3 days at a
demonstrated
time.
that
I'll go
with
home for a day.
his
I come back 3
mitigation
more days.
of a double
So that's
sexual
how
assault conviction.
How long have you been
Yeah, but
involved
this one-
in,
He tells us, but that's what he does. He's going to circle around it. And if you'll accept it, then that's where it ends.
Like
If you bring it in
2,
another notch,
3,
then as he goes, he'll get more and more detailed.
Right, and I guess my point was on the previous version, the example that you gave, I felt like he was trying to soften it, so that the impact of the actual statement, the statement of fact, is a little bit
Is that the
softer at
only
that
time you
point.
go over
When he gives a date range there, he's leaving some room for ambiguity,
were you
not just trying to
in
soften
that area
the
or
fact.
over that way on
I'll give you. I see what you're saying.
last Wednesday, the 31st?
No, sir.
Or June 1st?
Your card, describe it to me. You said it's silver.
So silver, 2010 Nissan Altima. Nothing special about it. Has a
2-door, 4-door?
4-door. Yeah.
You know, tinted windows,
Yes.
rims,
Tinted windows, no rims.
stock rims.
Yeah, it's factory.
All right, I'm going to bump ahead. Silver car is what you need to remember.
Where was it before you dropped Lauren off or after
It
you?
was after I dropped Lauren off. I dropped Lauren off. That's where.
That's
I
where you went
Yeah, I
before
went to see.
Bruton?
Yeah, I was going to see her.
Okay.
No, she lives in Bruton. That's why I was going to Bruton to see.
Okay. So you got into Bruton. I have down 130 to 140.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And guys, what he's talking about, he dropped his girlfriend that he lives part-time with at the apartments where the missing girl come up missing the same day. He drops her off earlier in the day and then goes to a side chick, and that's where he's describing now that he went to the side chicks and he knocked that out, and then kind of carries on with his timeline. And I'm not going to – they're going to beat his timeline up enough that you're going to be able to make some just take some discernment to the story. So I'm not going to stick in here with some of the details past the tactics, just because, like I say, it's 3.5 hours long. It gets kind of boring.
you went to
I was going to see her, but when
what's her name again?
Yolanda Mitchell, YOLUNDRA Mitchell, MITCHELL.
Okay.
All right, Spooks, tell me about the body language while he was explaining the side piece that he was going to see.
He's pulling in.
Mhm.
He's starting to lean forward a little bit. You notice that his shoulders are kind of crunched. Hands folded, pulled into his abdomen. But it's almost like, and tell me if I'm crazy here, Lucian. He's trying to pretend as if he's relaxed because he's keeping his legs crossed in front of him.
Yeah, definitely. He's, like I said, there's some experience there. The other thing that's interesting is instead of leaning forward like he's trying to give information where your spine would be a little bit more straight and you actually expand the abdomen, he's actually contracting in.
See, actually, Jason, I'm curious to see what do you see with that body language? I don't know that I see the same thing the intelligence folks are seeing.
I see somebody trying to appear to be as cooperative as they can. The other thing that really strikes out at me is how would an innocent person be responding to these questions? That's the one thing that I keep kind of going back to in my mind. If he knows why he's there, this is the way he's talking. It's a huge red flag for me. But I'm looking at a guy who's trying to appear to cooperate as much as he can.
Now I'm looking at him, but see, I'm gonna go opposite of what you guys say. I don't see there's stress all in him. There's stress since he walked in. He knows why he's there, and he knows it's not a positive thing. So he's eaten up with stress. But I go back again, when he's able to tell something that's not incriminating, and he doesn't probably in his mind. I don't know why this is important, but they're asking it to me, so I'm being very helpful. Clasping the hands and leaning forward, it's like, let me help you. I'll watch what you're writing, so I make sure that you spell it correctly, because what I'm giving you may be good for me and it's solid. So I would say that he did go see his side piece, and her name is this, and she does live where it's at, because if they talk to her, he knows she's going to say the exact same thing he did. So I think that you're seeing him in eagerness, like Jason says as well. I think that's what I'm trying to describe. But he's very precise when it's things that he is pretty sure that doesn't incriminate him.
And you were going to go to her house?
Yes.
Where's she live?
I cannot remember the street name, but it's at 112. Her phone number is 251-591-6108. But by the time I got this shit, I already left to go to the funeral. But we talked from the time I left Pensacola till I got to Bruton.
You did say that your friends already went to the funeral, but I didn't know you were meeting aides.
Yes, I'll be her. Yes.
Okay.
What kind of relationship you have with her? You know, I'm a green Ford Ranger.
That truck has been broke down. That's what I end up getting this. If you say you got my car on video and you say this is showing all this, let me see it.
That route from where you were at, from the apartments to Bruton, back down to where she was found, back to Johnson. And they show exactly which route you went. You can't deny it. It's your phone number. It's your phone number and your phone records. You could keep denying it, or you could tell me what really happened and give your story of what happened. She's a cute girl. She looks a little older. Maybe you guys had something and.
How do we have something?
So I actually have a question for law enforcement guys. Once I immediately keyed in on him slamming his hand, like not really slamming, but that hand slap on the table. And then the officer on the far right leans in. They can tell that the temperature is now turning up. Why not reset? Bring him back down to baseline and re-engage. Like that would have been my initial thought if I were in the booth with this guy. What do you guys have a different take on that?
No, I want a cascade of panic going on inside of him. That's what I want. As we close in, I want a cascade of panic feeling inside of him without him saying, I want to speak to an attorney.
Yeah, I agree with Joe there. I just in my brain I go, okay, they're gonna start. She's getting argumentative is wrong. They're starting to turn the heat on him, and eventually, the way that we've always done it is you let them set their story, and then you start to challenge their story. When he slammed his fist down, I think he realized at that point, kind of an oh shit moment. And now he's going to start to fight back. The other officer leans in, kind of like, no, don't do that. That's my take on it. They're going to flip the table, is what I'm seeing.
I think if I'm there, I like to see the pressure. And she did something just before I muted. She said, "Look, she looks a lot older than 12." And then maybe y'all had something going and it went too far. You're applying the pressure, but you're also giving an escape route if they'll take it. Now, they're not going to buy up. It's like, oh, yeah, we had a consensual sexual relationship and she accidentally smothered on something. They may accept that on the first round and they'll give them a break then. We'll reset at that point. But the next time we come back, now we're going to ratchet it up and we're going to get down to the real story. I already know you did it. Now I'm going to eat the rest of your story up is the way that goes. But
I got you. That's a good point. So like when I noticed she did that, so we would call that loyalty up. Like, I'm giving you an out. Hey, I can understand how you could see it this way, but so in my opinion, in my experience, the temperature
it's a shitty deed, but you're not a shitty person because most people have been in this situation and would react maybe the same way. Yes.
Yeah. So like when I look at it, I think the temperature is potentially too high for the subject to take the out. Because they're ramped.
Well, Jason, what do you think about his criminal history? Do you think he's likely to take one of those type of situations? You got to remember now, this guy's somewhat sophisticated to the legal system, and I think by him beating down, he's almost trying to make an emotional last ditch effort because he doesn't know what they know and what they don't know, and he's holding off for sure that they don't have videotape of his car where the girl's body was found.
Yeah, this was his way of trying to figure out what do you know. That's why he slammed his fist.
Right. Let's keep listening. But she's giving him an escape route, and he's not taking it.
Around the child.
How do you explain, though? How do you explain that your phone is showing that you're going in those directions? How do you explain that?
If you say you got my car on video, and you say this is showing all this, let me see it. Because there's no way that none of that.
Let's see it.
And right now he's hinging on they're playing poker and he's hinging on they don't have the cards, they're bluffing. That's why you call it out. Let's get it over with right now because that's going to change the tone of his story if they do have, in fact, what they're claiming.
No way.
All right, I'll show you.
What's that?
A Nissan Altima.
Okay, and what is that supposed to mean?
That's your car.
Okay, so how are you just going to tell me that's my car?
It's your car because your phone puts you in that exact spot that car is at the exact time that car is on that video.
We don't say so. I mean, that's what the evidence says.
That is not my car. That's not my car. That child's never been in my car. I've never had that child in my car. Like I said, me and that child has never been in spitting distance of each other. Never.
So you are a cold-blooded murderer.
Because
you're sitting here deny. You don't care. You just put it like you just deny everything and lie because we have proof that you're lying.
But this child has never been in my car.
To me, a 12-year-old baby is dead And you're
This
sitting
child
here
has never
lying
been
through
in my
the
car.
whole thing
This
about
child
where
has
you
never-
were for some reason.
The child has
Why are
never been
you
in my
lying?
car.
Why are you lying about your
The
whereabouts?
child has never been in my car.
Why are you lying about your
The
whereabouts?
child has never been in my car.
Okay, so where has she been?
I don't know
Where
where
did
she's
you
been.
put her?
I did not put her anywhere.
Well, then, if she is in
I've
her
never
car,
had
you
her.
must have stashed her
I've never
somewhere.
had her. She's never been with me.
She has. You killed her.
No, I did not.
You killed her.
I can.
You raped her and you killed her.
No, I did not.
Yes, you
No, I
did.
did not.
What'd you do then?
I didn't do anything.
You
I didn't
raped
have her.
You raped that baby.
I can't argue with what you think or how you feel about it. I can just.
She just turned 12. She's 11 years old.
I did not touch that child. I did not
You
have that
raped her.
child. All right.
Did she come on to you and
I did not.
think
Did y'all catch it? She turns on the heat. She talks about how horrible the crime is and that it's you're a cold-blooded murderer. She applies the pressure, and what did he come back with? So did she come on to you? He gave him another opportunity to take that exit ramp, but I think his sophistication with the criminal system is not going to give way. Anybody want to make comments before we go back to the video?
I was kind of looking at the behaviors. The observer on the right, while the subject is getting more anxious and insistent, he detaches, goes to look at his phone, doesn't make eye contact, is kind of like So he's trying to create a split between the two interrogators there. The other thing I noticed was that the subject, when given an opportunity just to be quiet, couldn't be quiet. That's a pretty good tell.
Yeah, nerves will make you talk. So we've seen that tactic, and they flipped it back and forth. And you're right. One's applying the pressure. She did the same thing when he was applying the pressure. But when one applies the pressure, the other is going to back off because they're the one that's going to offer the exit ramp if they want to take it. I just don't think this guy is going to take it. I think he's too sophisticated with the criminal justice system that he's not giving it up. I do believe that she shows him a silver car on the. He's still thinking they're playing with him. You don't have photographs of my car, and you don't really have my phone. In the picture he saw wasn't convincing him. Like, here's your license plate and here's your face. You see that? So I think he's still playing. He thinks he's still playing a bluff, or they're both still playing a bluff.
Yeah, and I mean, some of this, he's starting to look down the road. What can I argue away later? What, if I just deny everything, we know this is going to go to a case at some point. I mean, in his mind, he's thinking it's going to a case. So why give it up now? Right.
In the back of his mind, at the end of the day, they're bluffing him about his car. They don't have his car there. They're going to try to get him to say my car was there. Oh yeah, I did it. And as long as he holds through and doesn't say he does it at the end, then it goes nowhere because they were bluffing. We'll find out if they're bluffing or not. But I think the cell phone has got him thinking. I think the cell phone might be the one to crack him. Don't you think, Jason? A lot of folks don't realize that we can map you out even if you don't make a phone call.
Yeah, the unknown with people and what they don't understand, how much knowledge for criminal cases comes from your cell phone. And some of it is kind of like magic. Like, it's a great opportunity to lie from the law enforcement. And we can lie to you. But yeah, I agree with you, Joe. That cell phones are a massive piece in evidentiary processes, and I keep going back to he leaned over 3 times, and I picked up on that, and I'm like, oh, that was me. All right, he's the leaning over and moving forward, and he kind of started rocking. Like, I thought, all right, he knows he's fucked right now.
He's stressed. I don't think he's got it. That cascade inside of him, I think, is going off. There's no peace inside underneath his skin. Everything is heart's beating. Brains racing, ringing in the ears, all that I think he's experiencing right now. But I don't think he's bought in whether it's a bluff or they've really got this information.
I think, he's fighting it.
We'll see how well he does.
he's went a little too far?
Nothing. Like I said, I've never been with the child. No kind of way whatsoever. I've never touched the child, no kind of weight whatsoever.
So she didn't come on to you?
No, she didn't.
That's an interesting comment.
Is there any reason there'd be blood on your car?
No. Not at all.
Ooh, I like that. I like that technique.
Pause for effect.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
Well played.
help me understand why.
Okay, you guys notice as the intensity goes up, the pauses last longer. And I'll go back to something Lucian said. Quietness is uncomfortable for the person sitting in the hot seat. And right now, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him uncomfortable to the point that he doesn't go complete panic and say, I want an attorney.
Your car is on video, and why your phone records put you in the area where the body was dumped.
I have no idea.
I mean, you got to explain that.
How do I have to explain it? I do not know. I'm sitting here telling you
That's
serious.
not a very good answer. I don't know where I was, and I don't know why my phone's.
I told you where I was.
And we know it's not because we have proof it's not. So you're gonna have to come off the truth, or you're just gonna look like a liar and a cold-blooded murderer. Because you're denying the facts.
I've never been with this child. I never had this child. I never touched this child. This child has never been in my car at all. Period.
So then why did you drive over there?
Drive over there when?
When you're on video on that camera.
That's not me.
When your phone is hitting that same exact area that camera is.
That's not me.
If you had gone straight home, your phone wouldn't be putting you in that area. It'd put you over in the apartment. And it doesn't do that.
Not until after you go over that area.
That's not me.
Yeah, he knows he's in trouble big time now.
What do you mean that's not you? Do you have a personality disorder or something?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, just really quick, if you
So-
notice his body language, he's increasingly a bit more contorted.
She didn't come
And
on
the
to
way
you
his
at all?
feet are crossed,
No.
his over foot
You
is
weren't
facing the
attracted to
wall.
it?
Like he is evasive as hell right now in his body language.
So when the jury sees these photographs of this girl and sees how she was treated just like a piece of garbage,
and he just caught himself
mean,
stressed.
what do you think they're going to think about you?
Yep.
Hell, they're going to probably think the worst. I mean, regardless of what, they're going to think the worst, but I didn't do that.
That question was a Reed question.
So you didn't kill Naomi?
No, I did not.
Did you have sex with her?
No, I did not.
Either something just went wrong when you were with her. Has she done anything to piss you off?
You keep something went wrong when she was with me. She was not with me. So I keep trying to get you. She was not with me.
Okay. Has Naomi ever done anything to piss you off?
We've never talked. We've never had any kind of conversation or whatever, anything. Other than her speaking when I go into Lauren's apartment or coming out, that's it. That is it.
So they never talked other
Just,
than
hey,
this.
how are you?
Just speaking, hey. That's all she would ever say, hey.
Why do you think somebody would do that to a
I have
12-year-old?
no idea. I have a 1-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Your 17-year-old boy or girl?
Yeah.
Does she have anything to do with you?
Yeah, we talk.
Does she ever stay with you or anything?
No, she doesn't.
Where does she live?
She lives in Brooklyn.
How often do you see her?
Mm-hmm. This is when I go to her basketball games.
Do y'all talk on the phone? Or
She might text me or something.
and you're either a pretty sick, cold-blooded killer or something happened and something went wrong.
I have no idea. So, you know, you have to pretty much go off your instincts of what you think. Would I think you done it?
That is a crazy response.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's,
maybe not.
man.
I mean, you're
Now he's just
You're,
defying open defiance.
there's a lot of coincidences here. You know her. You're at the.
I know of her. I don't know her.
You know who she is.
Yeah, I know who she is. Exactly.
Can he crawl into the
You
car?
know who she is.
Right? That's the
You live in the same apartment complex she does. From what I know of Naomi, she's not going to get in a car with a stranger. So she kind of knows who you are. She feels comfortable around you, says hey to you, doesn't feel like you're a threat. Your timeline doesn't match up with your phone records. You have the same car that's on the video at the dump site. Your phone puts you there at that time. See where I'm going with this?
Not her.
Things don't look good for you. This is your time to tell
Yep.
your story
Alternative. Give me an alternative.
of what went wrong.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. What have y'all noticed throughout the interview? If you've noticed throughout the interview, who is getting more juice out of the squeeze?
the good cop.
Right, and
Yep.
and she's done very well. And something we haven't talked about, and I know Jason's done it. I'm pretty sure you guys that in the ghost suits do it as well. We've got some. There's a third person that's watching this and playing quarterback. There'll be times, and there are times in this. I cut them out, guys. I had to keep it down to 2 hours per segment because that was just my limit on cutting video. So I had to take some things out. But there are times where they pull her out, and they'll give some direction. But there's somebody playing quarterback to this, and I think the quarterback would have noticed by this point in the interview that the guy getting the juice is him, and that he's more than likely not going to break in front of a woman. Jason, have you ever encountered that with these types of cases, especially with black males?
Any criminal sexual conduct, yes.
Females are good at certain points during the interview, but there'll be a point where she won't be. She's going to be a roadblock to getting him to commit. But let's go back to it.
Just told you. I didn't have nothing to do with that child. At all.
I know they looked through your car. I know they looked through your car prior to. You said they looked it up to see whatever was behind stuff. You do know that this search warrant that we're doing for your car right now is going to be more detailed.
Oh, sure.
And we're going to spray it. We're going to comb it. We're going to find something of her in that vehicle.
Okay. Like I say,
And we're going to test the blood they found on the side of the vehicle.
The only on the side of it.
Yes.
What if I blood on the side of it?
That is on the passenger side in front of the rear tire.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know what that is. But,
You want to see a picture of it?
I mean, if you want to show one of me, but I still.
Did you accidentally hit her with the car and got freaked out and threw her in the car and took her somewhere because you didn't want to be
Another
in
open
trouble
door.
for hitting a kid with your car? No?
But, as I was saying, like I say, anything you find in that car, you may find it on the front passenger seat, and that'd be like, say, hair belongs to you, Audrey Mitchell.
Yeah, that was an interesting way she just went through that fear up, is what we would call it. So basically, we are going to go look here, and we are probably going to find, just to gauge how the subject will respond. That was good.
It is, but do you notice his responses to her? The longer this interview goes on, His responses to her are more firm, and he stands on them. He doesn't give any. He doesn't allow for you to take it anywhere. But he's different with the male detective.
Yep.
But I think this is something Jason, what do you think? Quarterback would have noticed this by now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a dominance thing with her, and hey, more of a I'll talk to you type thing going on.
I kind of look at the other way is that when you've done something very shameful, admitting it to women sometimes as a man is more difficult, maybe, than upping it, coming clean with the dude. But that's just a theory. I'm not sure about that. But I've noticed it in interrogations. There are times that a woman's touch does very well. There are other times the woman's presence just in the room is a deterrent.
Well, there be self and tested.
That's fine. That's fine.
Do you know the missing child's name?
Yeah, I read it on the flyer. Yeah, that's not
What is it?
Naomi Jones.
Was she scared?
I don't know who she was. I didn't have her.
Did she cry?
I didn't have her.
Did she try to fight? I heard she was a fighter.
I never had her, so I don't know. You asking me things
Did she have a chance to fight?
I don't know. I have no idea. You asking me things that I don't know nothing about. She wasn't with me. I didn't have her, so I don't know what she could have did, fought, cry,
Did she cry
whatever.
for her mama?
I have no idea.
Did she beg you to stop?
I don't know what you're talking about because she was not with me. She was not with me. I did not have her. She did not go anywhere with me. I did not pick her up. None of that. I did not ask her to get in my car. She did not get in my car. None of it.
Who was she with?
I have no idea.
Yeah, this is an interesting part of this because I would have, and maybe this is cut. I probably would have tried to reset because he's starting to just close off.
I don't think I'm at reset. Do you think, Jason?
No, in fact, I didn't have her. What does that mean? I wasn't with her. I wasn't there, but I didn't have her. What does that mean?
Where'd you take her?
I didn't take her anywhere. I did not have her. She was not with me.
When you say she, who are you?
Oh,
referring
nice.
to?
Force him to
Who
say
we
her
been
name.
talking about this whole time.
You tell me.
I'll tell you. You know who we've been talking about. We've only been talking about one person this whole time.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you an out. If you're over in that area when your phone is showing there and your car is there, now's the chance to tell me that, okay, yeah, I went through that area, but I had nothing to do with that.
I had
But
nothing to do with her at
because
all.
That's a good
Period.
play.
because I have somebody that just told me that they would testify to you being at that site at that time in court. So that's enough right there to show you were there.
How can somebody testify against me? Yeah.
The phone data comes from an analyst. That analyst that looked at all that data and said, yep, he was there at that time, using that phone, hitting off this tower. He said he would testify in court that you were at that site where we found Naomi.
Jason, I'm calling bluff. She hadn't had the phone data analyzed at this point.
Absolutely not. No, that takes a couple weeks to get that data back.
Yeah, folks, you're watching a bluff right there. She doesn't have anybody that's going to testify there as far as an analyst. And I think she thought she was going to say somebody saw you, and then she flipped it to analyst. She kind of paused there with it. I'm going to give her some kudos with it, but this is a bluff. And let's see how effective it is.
So I'm trying to help you, buddy. If you were there, now's the time to say it.
I had nothing. Honestly, I had nothing to do.
He took the bluff because he didn't say I wasn't there. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and he also added the qualifier language, honestly. So when people start adding language like that, you know that you've got them on the road.
So, all right. I'm gonna tell you the truth now. All right. Yeah, you're right. He threw the qualifier in there, but I think he took the bluff because he doesn't understand how that works, and cell phones are magic. So, maybe they do have that. So I've got to leave it open. I might have been in the area, but I didn't have nothing to do with that.
With being with her, having her, picking her up, dropping her off, anything. Don't know nothing about her. Don't know who got her, who picked her up, who did what. Nothing.
So where were you driving to then when you were over there? Were you going somewhere else? What were you doing?
I thought he was at work until 1:30 in the morning when it started.
All shit aside, all bullshit aside. No, I said I don't know nothing about this kid.
And that's fine. I just want to know why you were over there.
When I came home, sometimes when I come home at night.
Boy, he bit the bait and he's got the hook in his lip. He bought every bit of that. This analyst is going to testify against you that you were in this location. Jason, I think he got off at 11, and this happened like 12:30 or something at night. It was late at night. The little girl, who was the oldest, and her two or maybe three little brothers had walked the dog, and she stayed outside maybe a little bit longer than they did. And then the little brothers called the mom, who was at work, I believe, saying the big sister, they can't find her. But so I think he had already had his shift at work that day.
I thought he gave a range when he got off.
But I think on this day he gets off closer to the 11 o'clock.
All right, I might have misheard that.
I ride around to see what I can find out to hook up with.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing.
Did you hook up with anybody that night?
No.
No, you didn't find. Do you know that area, or you just were driving around?
Just driving.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we know you were there, so that makes more sense than saying I was never there, because we know you were.
But as far as having that kid, I ain't never had nothing to do with that kid. Never. That's why I said I was never gonna clean my car out or anything, because I want them to search that car. I want them to put lights, lamps, whatever. There's blood on the side of the car. Don't know where it come from. Don't know nothing about it. Don't know nothing about it. It's only been one person in that car other than me.
No, B.
And
He
that's
placed himself on
Yolanda.
the scene.
That's why I say any hair you find in the front seat is hers. That's the only place hair should be, or would be, is in their front seat. Nobody's in the back. Only person that ever gets in the back seat is my son Jackson with his seat right there.
When was she in there?
She was in there tonight. I seen her tonight before I came back. Let's go. No, she was in there before that. Maybe a few days. It was within the last few days that she was in there.
All right, I'm going to bump
Also,
forward a little bit.
Never anybody around
I
there.
never said it was anybody there. I saw him riding and looking. Never said I found. I mean, that's my everything. Other than going to church over there, that's the only time I've ever just been through there. And I rode around.
All right, I know I skipped up a bit. Let me give the background on that. They're talking about where the female detective has put him, said, I got phone records and someone to testify, said that you were in the same area at the same time that the girl was missing, where a body was found, by the way, is where this location they're talking about. And that's when he upped the story. He's like, okay, yeah, I was driving around looking for somebody to hook up with. Evidently, that's a thing he can do, hook up with him. So now he's talking about his driving around that night and being in the area. And that's where this line of questioning is at.
Went through that look, didn't know where the hell I was. So I went down so far, didn't see anything. I turned around and came back out.
How long? So, describe to me what happened when you get in that area. Tell me exactly where you drove.
Exactly where I drove. Okay. Came in, went all the way down, all the way back around. Just followed the road all the way back out. When I got back out, so it came back out by the interstate. It was like a hotel or something back there. Went in through the hotel, looked, didn't see anybody out the hotel, came back out. Came back up.
What hotel was it?
I have no idea. It was a hotel, I guess.
Didn't find no hose at the hotel. Got to check the motel.
As soon as you come out that curve, come on back around the hotel to sit down. I have no idea what it was.
Is it in the curve? Like right across from the interstate?
Mm-hmm.
And you drove around the parking lot in there?
Turned around, came out. Yes.
Yeah, this is a
Anyway,
bad sign for
back
him. When you
up.
start giving like,
Back out there.
insignificant
Turn
details about things,
around there.
that was
Came
always
back out.
a detail
Last
for us.
time we in so far. Went down.
Say that again for us more.
Yeah, so one of the things that we would look for is when someone's telling a story, this is why the baselining part's so important. He was very specific and upfront at the very beginning of his story and had, when someone starts to insert gaps or insignificant information, so he's talked about that you come around that curb, as detailed as he was before, now all of a sudden there's a degree of vagueness in his story. That was an indicator of deception.
Correct. When the truth doesn't hurt him, he's very forthright with it. When the truth might hurt him, he's very vague.
I thought about it. Damn, I said to myself, damn, I was over it. But, I didn't think no more of it. I was like, well, I ain't have shit to do with that. So,
Did you ever stop right there on that bridge?
no. I didn't stop at all.
So you always were
Just constantly
driving
moving.
through
Yes,
there?
constantly moving. I never
How
stopped.
fast do you think you were going through there?
Maybe like 20, 25, maybe.
So now, I mean, now that we're being honest about the phone stuff, we know.
Okay. I thought this was interesting. Of course, I had to watch this to try to cut it down, and then I figured I couldn't figure out how to cut it down, so I'm having to jump through it because I thought every point was interesting. But they've let him, Jason, you talked about it earlier, that he committed himself to a story, right? You got him committed to his story, why he was driving around and what he was doing and where he's been. Now they're going to take it and they're going to turn the dial up just a little bit more. It's about to get a little hotter in the room, and she's going to continue her bluff, and I'm going to give it to her. It was a pretty good bluff. She's going to continue her bluff about what I know from your phones.
When earlier when you said you weren't at the apartments at 1:30, but we show you at the apartments at 1:30, maybe did you have your time confused, or did you happen to stop in and forgot about it?
I wouldn't say I had it confused, but like I said, I know I dropped Lauren off at 12. Yeah. Like I said, I never really kept up with the time from that.
No.
Boy, that's a long pause.
I got to be honest. I'm
Why'd you stop on the bridge?
I'm wondering why he hasn't already lawyered up at this point. This is about the point someone wants to take a break.
Yeah, he's damn near. He's literally curled up in the ball in the corner. Feet
Look,
pulled
folks.
in now, arms closed, leaned into the corner, everything.
That is, and I think he's about 3 hours in. That is talent of law enforcement officers. And you got to remember, too, they've got him pinned up to where, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, there are some folks that know that they're going to get got, but 1 or 2 days free is great. I think there probably is biological evidence in his car. If he transported the body in his car, it's going to be impossible to get rid of that. But you're not going to know immediately on it, so to speak. So I think that he's looking to get out of this room today, and he's been playing that. But what do you think, Jason? Would you have given him a break by now, or would you be worried about him cracking and saying, I want an attorney?
No. I think everything he's doing right now, part of me thinks that he can get out of this still. And this is a game. He tested them. They were testing him. And at this point, I think they broke him. If there was a hole in that sheetrock wall, he would crawl through it right now. And if I'm in there in the detective shoes, they're about 10 minutes away from a full confession, which is the goal. I agree. Why in the hell are you talking, dude? I mean, this guy is beyond stupid. If you did this, let the evidence prove you did it. These guys did a good job, and he's if I'm in that room right now, he's ready to throw up on himself.
Yeah, I think he's close to throwing up on himself, and but that goes with these type of interrogations. The person you're interrogating can say, "I want an attorney at any time," and even 5 minutes later, say, "No, I changed my mind. I want to talk to you." You still can't do it. Once you invoke an attorney before questioning, then that's what you get. You can't really back that up because everything they're doing here is consent. That paperwork they did in the beginning was all consensual. You have the right, and they say you have the right to terminate at any time. But as long as they've given him a pathway or some daylight that he might come out of this on top, at least get out of this room for the day. They may get him the day after tomorrow, but at least get out of the room for the day. He's willing to sit there and roll the dice.
Joe, is this a Miranda statement or a free to leave statement?
Miranda, free to leave.
No, which one was it?
I know you're saying he was read his rights. He was given his Miranda statement.
Okay, so it was a Miranda statement. All right.
But it changed from interview to interrogation with that. He's a suspect, and they advised him as such by giving him his Miranda rights.
Okay.
So I think I don't know how Lamar feels about this particular point in the interview. From my standpoint, so this is where I would start looking for ways to get some agreement. And this is why my perspective on these interactions is probably very different than traditional law enforcement. There's a couple of points where I would have said, "Oh yeah, man, I really feel what you're saying right now. You look really stressed. Can I get you something?" And again, my point would be to not assert authority, but the constant pressure that they're keeping up here is pretty interesting. Like I said, I'm surprised that he hasn't lawyered up, and I heard Jason and Joe talk about why that is. Very different perspectives between us.
No, I agree with you, Lucian. And so this is why I keep bringing up the reset, because one of the things that, and again, this is an intellism, I acknowledge that, where there's an understanding with human psychology, people are more willing to speak openly when they're calm and less stressed. When you apply pressure to people, yes, they can talk, especially what they call nervous conversation. People will prattle on. In fact, there's a psychological tell where people can start to talk faster when they're stressed and slow down when they're in a more relaxed state. But you also run the risk of them saying something stupid. So there are pros and cons to it. But I agree with you, Lucian, here, where if I would be concerned about them getting up and evoking rights, like, nope, I'm not saying anything else. I want an attorney. I would have reset the room to bring them back down to baseline. But that's just, I understand that's an intellism.
It's not just an intellism. It's more, I think, from the law enforcement side to it, they're letting this guy dictate where this, his tells and what he's saying. They're letting him kind of guide what direction that they follow. So I think everything this guy is saying, he is allowing them to keep moving in the manner that they are, because the goal is a confession. So if he changes topics or changes course right now, the detective needs to change their course. So again, I agree with Joe. It's a dance. It truly is. And if this guy says, "You know what, I don't think I want to talk to you anymore," well, he hasn't lawyered up yet. So you change tactics right there.
So tell me this, Jason. So in this kind of approach, this is effectively a one-off. This is your spot on the stage to get this guy to give you information that will help in the case against him, right?
Correct.
Okay. So again, just a little different perspective. The reason that I would back off on this is because I want multiple encounters. I want this guy to do things for me or give me information that he wouldn't normally otherwise give up. And so I think there's a split, and it would be kind of interesting to map this out visually where the differences between interrogation are and elicitation, and at what points you would make different decisions. I'm watching this going, "Oh man, they totally blew it. They could have built confidence there." But then I look at his response later on. The goals are different. So this is pretty interesting for me too, because I don't typically watch these kinds of interactions.
You're exactly right. And I can tell you, and Joe can attest to this, working narcotics, when I interviewed or interrogated people with narcotics, my goal was to flip them. I wanted them to join our team. In this case, you have a 12-year-old girl. My goal is to put you in prison as long as I can. So it's two different scenarios.
And you've got to remember, the truth will put this man in the penitentiary most likely for the rest of his life. So no matter how relaxed he's going to get, he's never going to be off guard at the police station. You can bring him in water and all these things. I think that if the guy had pounded his fist on the table and kind of really lost his shit, maybe even stood up a little bit and kind of pushed back, I think that's when I would have tried to close the deal, because I think I'm close there with this guy. But you got to remember, Lamar, letting off the gas on this guy, relieving the pressure, and there may be times to do that. It just depends, but I haven't seen it in this one. To let the pressure off is kind of starting over again. You're going to have to go back and build all this up, this pressure that you've created this far up again. But let's go back to the video.
Yeah, you stopped there. But you also stopped on the bridge. And I proved you did. Why'd you stop on the bridge?
You say you can prove I can. I mean, if you say you can prove I can, then tell me why I stopped on the bridge. Because I did not stop on the bridge.
You stopped on the bridge to put her body in the water. Naomi's body.
Did you throw her over the rail, or did you drag her around the side? That's the question I had. I was wondering
throw her
about.
on the rail. I didn't drag her around the side. I did not dump nobody. I did not dump a body anywhere. She was not in my car. Anything.
Was she in your trunk?
No. No. Not at all.
Why are you stopped on that bridge a minute and a half, 2 minutes?
And I did not stop on the bridge.
The video shows otherwise.
Okay.
2 different places had a video right there
Okay, well.
on Ashland. It's undeniable that you
You
stopped
said a
on
minute,
the
it stopped a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yes.
If something like that was to happen, then you got clear-cut picture if that's the case.
Yeah, this is where I
Yes,
think
why you
body
stop?
language
I did
will
not
always
stop.
betray you. When she pushed
right
him on
there.
that, he wanted to crawl into
So
that
you got a
corner.
picture saying that I was stopped on the bridge. So that means you got a picture of me.
Well, I think in law enforcement, you might be able to go and testify that the one appeared uncomfortable, but it's not real good evidence. You don't have a case sealed by it. To me, as a police officer doing an interrogation, it tells me that I'm applying good pressure, because I'm looking for that emotional cascade going on inside to spill out of his mouth.
Yep, I agree. So what we would do is we would flag that specific line of questioning or subject within the larger context to re-engage on, because it very obviously made him uncomfortable. Like it was so obvious given his body language response.
These investigators are using the spiraling technique. If you'll notice, they'll go around the subject. Hey, I know this. Oh, I know you're over there. No, I wasn't there. Well, I know you were there. I'm sure you were. No, I wasn't. Okay, now I got somebody to testify. It's a spiral. As it goes closer, they take it one ratchet in, gets closer and closer and closer. And this is what they're doing. Was that you notice they didn't focus on he stopped on a bridge in the very beginning. You were just over there, and they've walked him down. But each revolution, the circumference gets a little smaller.
Apparently dumping his body.
No, it's obstructed, but you could see that you came in, stopped, and didn't come out. At least for 2 minutes. That shows you stopped.
What about that?
You were sitting on the bridge, and a car came by, and you drove off, pulled back out on Detroit, turned around in the driveway, and then pulled back on. Am I lying?
Oh, so
Car passed by when
I
you first
did
tried to
not-
stop. Went down when you saw it, went to the stop sign, waited for that car to get out of the way, came back around, got back up on the bridge.
Tell me I'm lying.
That's exactly what happened.
I didn't show you the video, bud. I'm not lying.
Ooh, got a neck crack.
Yeah, he's done. He's done.
Got a neck crack, boy. Hey, Jason, you know, we've all four of us have talked about this, and I would tell you that there'll be a point in the interview where I can hear the timbers starting to crack before it busts wide open. A neck crack is definitely there. If I was quarterbacking this, I'd be sending some text messages in there with a big thumbs up.
That's about the biggest positive sign you can get.
That is extreme discomfort, and it's almost an involuntary action. That man didn't know he just cracked his neck.
Yeah, so physiologically speaking, he's trying to relieve stress and pressure, and people will do that under high stress situations. He, in my opinion, he screwed himself. That was the biggest tell ever.
100%. Let's go with it though. But I like that one.
Who dumped the body?
I didn't doubt it. Wasn't me.
Why are you stopped on the bridge? Look, man, what went wrong?
What do you mean what went wrong? I don't know what went wrong. I didn't have nothing to do with the child.
Is she? Do you know her to be promiscuous? Was she
I
flirting with you?
I don't know
or
anything. I've never had any kind of contact with this child.
did you think she maybe have been older? And
I know this is a child. I've never had anything to do with this. Never. Other than speaking to that child when they spoke to me, that was it.
That child right there?
Yes,
Naomi?
Naomi. Yes.
she's cute. Was cute.
I mean,
Humanize the victim.
if I dump this body, as y'all say, I mean, y'all should find something from me on her, or from her and my vehicle or whatever. If this is what I'm supposed to have done.
That's not it.
Jason, that goes back to the point you mentioned before. That
You
so
know,
we look at that as an evidentiary dare. Like that
when
was
a jury
wild.
sees that,
Yes.
here's your story. You know, if you showed some remorse or tell us what really happened, you know, that may make a difference in the end. But if you're going to sit there and just act like,
But you want me to sit here and tell you something, or tell you that I've done something that I haven't done.
Robert, look at me. Why were you stopped on the bridge?
I was not stopped on the bridge.
You can't. You can't deny that because you can see it. You don't come out the other side. You're stopped there. Even though you can't see the car at the time, you know you don't go forward or backward. You know you're stopped. To deny it, again, like the phone stuff, it's there.
I'm expecting to help yourself out when you go in front of a judge, if you're honest.
Yeah, he's already
Let me
broken
ask you
that.
this. Do you
This could help you in the end.
use like pills, Viagra, any type of pills for male enhancement or anything? No. You don't have any problems with that? Okay.
That's interesting.
like those
Ego
little
shot.
supplements you buy from the
That's an
store.
interesting take.
No. What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just curious.
Of what?
If you have problems getting a hard on.
Never have. Never have. And as far as me fucking a 12-year-old,
So I have a question. I have a question for law enforcement here. What's the rationale behind trying to take the shot at the ego there to see if you can get him to peak emotionally again?
One, it's kind of an insult. Two, I think that it leads down the road to once again, you're not the monster. It wasn't necessarily your fault. You can only be aroused by small children, and you know who could live without sex. Could be a path that he's going there, and there could be something in the investigation that we're just not aware of that these investigators knew. But I think on its face, throwing that out there is another way to show that you're not really the monster. You're kind of a victim in all this.
Yeah, and that there's a question B had: is he a psychopath? I think that's an interesting point to bring up here. He's not. In this case, well, okay, classically, a psychopath wouldn't show you the emotional range. It would be cold, and you would expect one of two paths where they simply say, "You can't prove it," and they would shut up. A psychopath doesn't necessarily have good emotional indicators in response, and under situations like this, they almost take it as a dare to not show any emotion.
Right. And you're absolutely right, Lucian. A psychopath would have endured this interrogation until it was no longer entertaining. Then they would have invoked an attorney and gone about their business. But you wouldn't have seen the physiological effects and reactions that we're seeing out of this gentleman here if he were a psychopath, in my opinion.
The Viagra question was interesting to me because that could have went two ways. Do you take sexually enhancing pills so you can perform with an adult? Could have went the other way too. Are you attracted to children but you know it's wrong, so you take a pill to do it so you can perform? That question was interesting to me. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, and it could be something in the investigation, but I almost have a gut feeling that might be something this investigator's picked up or heard somewhere, that you kind of throw that into the mix. But I think
or it
its
could be
main purpose.
It could be a blood test too, if this just happened.
Yeah, well, it could be, absolutely, but I also think it does lead down the path of questioning that you're talking about. They're like, well, my pee-pee don't work unless it's with little babies. Oh man, I can understand that. I can imagine being that way. If I was that way, I'd probably do it too. Yeah, let's talk about it, and then you've got him. But interesting. And guys, I'm going to be bumping through this here pretty quick because we got a whole nother the conclusion of this to relive and watch.
How about you and Lauren?
They don't even, that kind of child don't even appeal to me no kind of way.
My sweet Mary, look at that body language change.
Is that what happened with Naomi?
I'm bumping ahead. He's going to change that quick.
What happened with her? She went with me. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, he's comforting himself at this point.
Why'd you keep driving onto that road and you drive off to her room and go back?
Trying to holler at him. Not going to the apartment.
Where do you go? Where do you go? Have you ever had any luck picking any women up in Pensacola? This probably wasn't the first time you picked up with Naomi.
I've never hooked up with this child. I've never done anything with this child. Ever.
Did you get her pregnant?
Who?
You get Naomi pregnant?
I
That's why
haven't
you
done
had to
anything
kill
with this child. I've never been with this child.
Why
Why do you keep insinuating? I'm telling you that I've never been with this child, but you started trying to say things to, I guess, make me feel some type of way to tell you that I've had sex with this child. I haven't had sex with this child. So regardless of how you put it or how you may think about it or how you may think it may have happened or when, I've never had sex, been with this child, touched this child, anything. Naomi, I've never.
Didn't do it.
Never.
Pointed at a picture. 100%. He's convincing.
Never.
That's an interesting
what would
thing
you
he
say
just did there. He
once
basically
they
tried
come
to
back with DNA
told them
part
what
and
he's
also-
aware of what they're trying to do. That was interesting.
And that's not uncommon in my experience with interrogations on the law enforcement side. Jason, it wasn't uncommon for people to, I know what you're doing. The problem is that emotional cascade inside. The problem is they don't know which one's true and which one's a bluff.
No, that's pretty much every interview I've ever done. Yeah, it's very common.
All right, I'm going to bump through because this is going to make a transition. We might be close right here. Let's go there and see.
Because of me.
What were your thoughts about what happened to her when they first said they found her? dead. What were your thoughts about what might have happened to her?
Like I told him when you stepped out early, he asked me the same thing. I mean, I'm like, damn, I really don't know what happened to her.
What usually would you think happens to a young girl that gets kidnapped, killed?
Somebody snatched the girl up and killed her. I mean,
usually though, there's a motive in taking a girl.
Try to take her off somewhere and have sex with her or whatever. And
That's a read school question right there.
Maybe, he had her somewhere and shit didn't go like he thought it was going to go or thought they were going to go and killed her. I mean,
explain that to us, Jason.
What do you think should happen to somebody who does this? Should they go to prison for life? Should they? And you're looking for a response to downplay the punishment.
Right. The other one is, well, I mean, if you had done it, I mean, how do you think it would have been done? Or how do you think they did do it? I actually hate those read school questions.
So
Yeah,
that was really common for counter espionage stuff. If you knew you had someone, you could ask them, how would even someone go about removing classified information from a SCIF? Because what you're trying, like the person may inadvertently just essentially tell you how they did it, and now they're screwed.
Yeah, it's I don't like it. I don't think people respond to it very well. I think a certain personality might, and that's just to prove to you that I'm more intelligent than you. That you ask me a question, I know the answer. But I think in general, it's I don't think much of that line of question. But you're right; it is a read school question.
See, there's a number of things that can run across as a scenario. What you think? No.
Yeah. It's understandable. She is a cute girl. She looks a little older than her age. She acts a little older than her age. She dresses provocatively.
I don't see how she looks older than her age. Because, like I say, it looks like a child to me.
She looks like, I would say, 13.
That's still considered a child.
Okay, the dance and the denials continue. Let's get through this.
And there's nothing that you feel like maybe you should get out now and have a chance to get out now.
Get out. Like I said, I mean, what does that need to get out? Because I'm telling you.
The truth.
I didn't do anything to that child.
It's weighing on you. I can see it.
You've been saying this for a long time. I'm weighing on you. You see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see your body. I see how it's reacting to this.
Okay. That's all I was saying. I've done nothing to that child. I didn't hurt nor harm this child at all. Naomi.
Find out who took it.
I don't know. I mean,
That's an interesting thing that she called out his body language too. We would never do that in on the intel side.
It's a tactic to say that you've given up so many tails during this interview that at this point you're screwed. You might as well come clean. But Jason, what do you think?
Well, you've basically you've highlighted that you've been paying attention to their physiological response the entire time. This is why we didn't do it, because now the subject may attempt to engage in practices to control how they're reacting to your questioning, which is telling in and of itself. But you've basically shown a portion of your cards.
Yeah, correct. In this, some interviews or interrogations reach that point where that's exactly what you're going to do. You go with the assumption that the subject is pot committed. He's pretty much already, you pretty much damaged yourself already. I mean, the charade's over. Let's see what it is.
Yeah, and part of this, there's overlap with something called a SHARF technique, where you present yourself as knowing more. So whatever the other person has to say is like, whatever, we don't care. And that leaves the subject kind of, wondering if they've said anything of importance or not. So it's enhancing the ambiguity so that they fill the space.
No, I can see that. I think the interrogator must control this environment and control the conversation and control the space all the way through if you're going to have any success or any chance at success.
I don't know anything about what goes on in her parents' apartment.
Didn't stop on the bridge or right after the bridge, just on the other side of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So you went right on through.
Right on through, around the curve, down to the neighborhood.
And then you turned around in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
And you came back out that way?
Mm-hmm.
So you only went down in there and then came back out and never went back down that road? So you only went one way in and one way out.
And I believe we're in 4 hours now, interview.
Is that what you tell? That's what you did?
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm not going to put no code on it.
You said something about Instagram?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Same thing, but Instagram is basically like another Facebook. You can make a live video, you take a picture, post it to your wall.
Social media.
Facebook with her wrapped in anything, holding her, toting her. Somebody's gonna notice that because it's gonna be odd. Well, what in the fuck is he toting? What is he doing with that? What is that?
That was my idea. You know what I thought? I thought you were sitting in your car or around your car and somehow got her to come over to your car, and she got in and you drove away with her.
That ain't either. Like I say, I'm confident because she's never been in that car.
Still denying it.
Get whatever you need to get and search it. Because like I'm telling you, and you don't believe it, and like I say, you know, you got your reasons and your doubts for whatever, but it's never with me. She's never been with me. She was never in my car. She was never in that apartment.
You know why? You know why she did? Why you didn't dump her in Bruton? Because that would have been too easy for us to figure out. You're from Bruton. You live down here, so you figured go up to Bruton.
It's very populated right there, so there's no, you know, like I said, it's trees sparingly. It's, you know, a couple of con trees maybe, but like I said, there you can't hide anything. No, you're not, you know, you can't get anything by. I think you're hiding behind one damn tree or two. So
Explain to me what you do at your job again.
switch out train cars to be repaired the next morning.
Wow,
What
that was
kind of
good.
cars?
An in-question
Train cars.
reset.
Train
That
cars.
was nice.
You don't do any work on them.
No, just set them up to be fixed the next morning.
What kind of train cars are these? Are they? How many cars did y'all get ready to get worked on?
I don't know. Like I say, it's just
What's on an average night?
average night, maybe like 4 or 5. We don't do the rack at night because they try to do something like that. When CSX comes to pick it up, if it's not on the list, they're not going to take it.
Straight across it and kept on going.
There you go.
But I know that's not true.
Okay. You say it's not? I mean,
I know it's not.
okay.
Because you were stopped in that area for almost 2 minutes. Because what you don't know is there's a camera on the other
Hands
side
on
of
the
that
knees.
bridge.
That's the death position right
So
there.
I know how long it takes somebody to go past camera 1 to camera 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we're starting to believe it might not be a bluff at this point. They may
Yep.
really have some evidence.
Yep.
I'm not going to ask you a question like that unless I know the answer.
I think you'll ask me whatever it is that you feel like it's going to get an answer out of me or try to, you know.
And there's another camera down the road.
Mhm.
And I know how long it takes to drive from point A to point B. You know, because I can prove that.
Okay.
And you know I'm not lying.
Okay. I don't know what you're doing. I mean, you said you know I'm not
An
lying.
obstruction is what she
Okay,
said.
maybe. Okay, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you.
I'm just saying that you go up, don't see you. 2 minutes later, then you come out.
And what you're telling me too,
That's a long.
I told you I could prove you stopped right around that bridge.
Okay.
And then, not only that, Robert,
I can tell you. Like I said, I didn't stop at no bridge.
you stopped right past it.
Yeah, I got to explain it. I didn't stop. I told you that.
But the evidence says you did. What part of that don't you understand?
All right, we're done with the first 2 hours. video with him denying it. We've seen clues and indicators. What do you guys think about the first video? Just real quick though, because I want to get into the second one rather quickly.
They leaned in hard.
If you're in the quarterback seat, how are you calling this game right now with the reactions and the way he's answered questions thus far?
I mean, my personal, like, based on my experience, they leaned in really hard. I noticed several instances where we would have reset, but I did note the in question reset where they pivoted to, well, you know, tell me about your job and ask specifics about that. That gave him an opportunity to kind of take a cognitive breath and chill for a little bit before they pivoted back to the line of questioning to put him on the wall. But I would say at this point they know they have him.
Okay, so they're feeling pretty confident, or at least it's not slipping out of the bag, so to speak. Jason, what do you think?
I can't believe this guy's still talking. Honestly, they're doing a great job. I just can't believe this guy hasn't lawyered up yet.
That's where I'm at.
I think it's part of their skill. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever in an interrogation, you're on the losing end of the deal. The way you get out of that is say, I won't talk without an attorney. You should never be in this type of situation. It's being a criminal 101. Don't talk to the police, not even in a room when they offer you water. So don't even do it for a cigarette. All right. That might be offered to you as well. So there's no reason you're not going to win sitting down in that room. It's not going to be a benefit to your case. Okay, let's go to this second video and see if things are going to start to change.
What's up with that?
Tell me.
I'm not the one driving your damn car,
I'm not the one
man.
that...
You are. You got to explain this, not me. Your life's on.
Okay, what do we notice about our positioning?
They switched roles. He's now bad cop. She's now good cop.
But he's also closed in the distance. He's not sitting at the end of the table.
Yeah, and she's blocking the path to the door.
Very good, Spooks. Very good.
The line, not mine.
I didn't stop the car.
You stopped the car. You also pulled out and pulled into that driveway. You know good and well you did. Why'd you do it?
But I didn't.
Then why's your car doing it? Is a fucking alien driving your car?
May have been.
You said nobody else drives your car.
They don't. But hell, I mean, if the alien gets it, I'm pretty sure hell I can't.
All right, Jason, real quick. We're at the point in the interview where they've got enough committal story. He's laid down his story. He's made his box corners, so to speak. Now they're exploiting that. Do you see that is the same way?
Yeah, they got PC to arrest at this point. He's not leaving that room without handcuffs on him. It's time to get aggressive.
Right. So they're gonna use all the things and his long-winded explanations for everything that he said thus far, and these investigators are going to weave in and out of it like they're fence posts. When he re-answers it again the second time, they're going to bring him back to another one until he starts stumbling on his own words. We'll see how that gets him.
You said you're in your car at that time, and you're in that area. So who the fuck else is driving it?
I have no idea.
Robert's driving the car. You said so yourself. So make me understand what you were doing.
Doing anything. I never put my hand in the shower.
Because you're very adamant that she wasn't in your car.
She wasn't.
That you never touched her.
I didn't.
Or anything like that. We won't find anything.
All right, you see we're back in the corner body language?
Maybe not.
My car.
Maybe not. Because you probably wrapped her in something.
And our lead interrogator now is he's not giving up any ground. He's taking inches at a time, but he's closing in on his personal space.
How the heck would I get her from upstairs to downstairs without somebody seeing? I mean,
I'm not saying you took her up in your apartment.
Where would I have done that then?
There's plenty of places, man.
Not around there.
Plenty of places.
Not without being seen. That's a wide open area. That's a wide open area.
You could have cleaned your car.
No, I didn't clean it. It's not clean.
What do we have here?
He's contemplating.
Yeah, he's
Putting
covering
Putting a
his
story
face.
together. He's trying to
Talk
choose
to me.
words
Tell me what happened.
specifically to tell him.
I don't know what happened to the shower.
So the only problem at this point with the reading body language is the hour, because there is a fatigue aspect to this that you have to take into account when you got someone in the booth.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, that is true. But in these type of investigations, man, it's been described to me as an emotional cascade, and it was in a class, and I couldn't tell you which class it was, but I think that's a very good analogy of what's going on. I mean, it's raging inside. Your life is literally flashing in front of your eyes to ear ringing, and I think that stays put until one confesses. I think it goes away after confession. I've heard that, but I think it stays until someone confesses. It's too much to hold in, too much at stake. And the literal reality is upon you now for people might have known what you've done if you're guilty. We don't know if this guy's guilty or not. He has yet to give up the kitty if he is.
Robert, you're the only one that can tell me what happened to her. Nobody else on this face of this earth can tell me what happened besides you. Just tell me.
Is that the quarterback?
Yeah, you gonna take me or
Yeah, hold on just a second.
He has to go to the bathroom. We've got a new actor on the scene.
Oh, wow. Box them in.
Wow.
Just tell me what happened.
Oh,
Tell me about the minute and a half on the bridge.
only about a minute and a half.
Well, how long do you think did it take?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, is that how you want it to end?
I had nothing to do with that. I had nothing to do with that. Nothing.
Do you see the set of circumstances of that?
Yeah,
that
I see it exactly.
but it's beyond just circumstance. You leave the house. That's where the little girl was taken from. We can agree on that, right? You go to Bruton, right?
No.
You come back from Bruton. Okay. You go back to work. Okay. After that, you go where?
Come back.
Pensacola. You remember when we talked earlier? I asked you about Lincoln Park. You even went into it and said west of Highway 29, north of the interstate. Nope. Ain't never been over there. Nope. Ain't been there. Don't go over there. Nope. Remember that? Okay. Now you've been sitting up here for a while and talking to Agent Enfinger, and well, yeah, I was over there. Right? Okay. Stopped at the stop sign. Right? Drove across the bridge. Right? Drove into the neighborhood. Turn around. Come back out. Okay. Turn west. It's obvious. See you pull into the driveway. Back up. The cameras are actually pretty good. I mean, no doubt it's your car. No doubt. And it makes you look bad because you sit in here and, well, no, wasn't over there. Well, yeah, I was over there. Yeah, I was driving around. And you can't explain it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you're a bad dude. Bad things happen to good people. But you got to be able to explain what happened, the circumstances surrounding, you know. I mean, you can shake your head, no,
I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're
but
saying.
I mean, you know the technology. You watch TV, you see all the shit. We can put you at the scene, video, and we can also put you there by your phone. Right? We can agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You admit to being there. So, okay. So, I mean, we've already established
Hands on the chin.
Robert left at the time that she was abducted. She was murdered. We can put you there at the scene, at the dump. Your actions inside your car
He's
in
not
that
cute.
area, to the average person, that's what we're talking about. The average person, when they see this, they say, what the fuck is going on here? We see a car pull in. We see it go into the neighborhood. It comes back out. Car comes by, gets spooked. Whatever the case may be. I got it all fucked up because I haven't watched the video that much, but I get the gist of it. That she pulled up. I saw that part of it where he pulled out with the car. Okay. Nobody has done this but you. You brought this all on yourself. Okay? Can we agree on that?
All right, Jason, is this the man-to-man technique?
This is the setting the stage, letting him think he's in control, and flipping the side and take the female out, close the gap. It's time to fucking talk.
Yeah, right. And the good indication is that this other male investigator comes in. He doesn't take a step back and kind of get the feel of the room before he closes in. He sits in that chair and he scoots up there pretty damn close. He does back up a little bit. I think that was just for his own comfort, though, to cross his legs. But if you'll pay attention to his line of questioning, it's like, hey, man, nobody's going to buy this shit. None of it makes any sense. You're just wasting time here. Yeah, I wasn't there. Now all of a sudden you are there, and you stop on the bridge, and then the car comes, and then you move again. He's laying down some facts for this guy, and this is all interweaving to what the suspect has already said. I've heard this technique called man-to-man. Let's cut through the bullshit. You and I both know you're lying. Let's get this over with. Time has passed, and they've been beating him up pretty good. And I will say that I think you're getting some positive body language for you spooks if you want to say something. I think you're getting positive body language with his hands together, elbows on his knees. He's contemplating and doing arithmetic in his head as to how the situation is going to be. And I think when he comes up with zero.
Absolutely. His body language indicates, at least to me, that he is now desperate. He feels the walls closing in, and we colloquially called what this guy, the new guy coming in, we jokingly called it closing the box. And you basically stack a number of fact statements or unavoidable situations so that the subject understands there is no way out of the situation that you're in. But I'm interested to hear what Lucian has to say as well.
Go ahead, Lucian. You have a comment?
Yeah, no, I don't really have much to add to that. I'm looking at, he's been doing the math for a while, and he's been resisting admitting anything right now. And I don't know, if something will come up in a minute where he'll call for a lawyer or he'll bust. But the technique you're seeing here was designed to get people compliant, also with just answering simple questions: yes, no, yes, no. He needs the interrogators leaning back. It's like, yeah, this is all just matter of fact. There's no question about this. And that sets up a mental state. And that's probably what's that in addition to the time is calling this guy, he's about to throw in the towel either way.
I think on the law enforcement side, you're coming in and the facts that you stack up are things that either he admitted he lied, like I wasn't there, and then all of a sudden he was there and kind of comes up with an explanation after he was cornered with the phone bluff. I think you come in, the tactic here is you come in and you start stacking these up as like, man, I don't know what I don't know, but the things I do know, you look guilty. And even say, what do you think an average person is going to think? You're on this bridge at 2:00 in the morning, and later, oh, behold, a little girl's body's found there. And then you say originally you wasn't there. Now all of a sudden, oh, you were there, but you were just driving around looking. It's like nobody's going to believe that. I've got you on these hard facts as lies. So I think that's the math he's doing here is how bad does that really look? And if there's any chance out, and some of it could be just a delay tactic. But guys, we are 1 minute from the time this show's supposed to end. If you guys will give us another 30 minutes, I'll run this video out and we'll get to a conclusion on this. And I appreciate patience. If my panelist, if anybody has to leave, I understand. But if you could give me another 30 minutes.
You're good, Joe.
I'm good.
Do you realize the?
I know when I say this, all of this.
Talk to me, brother. Talk to
sounds
me.
real fucked up. But listen to me. Honestly, all bullshit, jokes aside, all bullshit aside. Okay. Honestly, I never took this child. She was never in my car. I didn't kill anyone. That's what I'm saying. I didn't kill anyone.
Did you throw her over the bridge while she's still alive?
No. Listen to what I'm telling you. She was never in my car. I never throw her over.
But you can't explain. Did you understand when they were telling you that there's a camera here
Yes, I
on
understand
Ledley,
that.
there's one right
I
here
understand-
by
I
the
understand
intersection?
Okay.
We can see how long it takes
Okay.
cars to go by. We
Yeah.
see that you stopped.
Okay.
It's over.
I
a
did all
minute.
that. I did all that stopping. I did all that stopping. I
Why?
did all that.
Why?
But I did not dump this body.
Was somebody else with you?
No, no one else was with me.
You were by yourself.
But I was told that something would be there.
What?
It wasn't this when I looked. Or I didn't see this when I
Nice change there.
So when I told you in the beginning, when he told about how he was convicted for a double sexual assault, did 15 years. He did 15 years in. I don't know what his sentence was, but he did 15 years in the penitentiary. How he mitigated that if he broke it, he would do the same thing. It's about to happen right here. It was just a damn happenstance. I'm sure of it. Let's hear it.
looked.
What was supposed to be there?
It was supposed to be as far as what exactly is it supposed to something to benefit me? So like that, yeah. Something
What?
to benefit me. I guess it was just supposed to be something, and I should have kept it. It was a note for me. It was a note on the car. All honesty, all bullshit aside. I said I never picked her up, never took her anywhere. It
AKA,
said
I'm
something to
lying.
benefit you.
From Naomi?
No. It,
Who's it from?
It didn't have no name from nobody or to nobody. It was just on the car.
That is the absolute worst fucking story I've ever heard.
I'm telling you the honest, the God truth.
That
When-
is
Tried
absolute.
to convince him that he was servicing a dead drop. Essentially,
Hey, for real though, he tried to convince them that he was convicted for forcible sexual assault ×2 on the same day. Did 15 years in penitentiary, and it was because the girl's mother was religious for a consensual sexual relationship. Now, I think that was a good tell in the beginning. Of course, I kind of knew. I actually hadn't heard all this. I bounced through this trying to make cuts on it. I haven't listened to the tail end of this all the way through, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. But that was a good indicator at the very beginning of this. If this guy breaks, he's going to break a certain way, and I think he did. Jason, do you agree with that? I know you've done plenty of these that under these same type circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great interview, actually. From start to finish, get him locked in a story. His story has changed so many times, and now this is actually fun to watch. I'm smiling listening to this guy talk right now.
I'm finding it enjoyable. Let's see how he plays it. Now, B said something earlier that the newer investigator, the bald-headed investigator that comes in, she quotes, "I'm not saying you're a bad dude, but bad things happen to good people." B, what he's doing is you never want anybody to think they're a complete, total piece of crap. So you always give them some out like, man, dude, I understand. I mean, other people may not understand, but at least me and you, I understand. I'm your boy. You want a cup of coffee, maybe a cigarette after this? Let's just finish the story. So it's that officer doesn't. And I actually, I'll be honest. I think a lot of officers don't necessarily pass judgment unless it is a child killing. But they don't think he's a good dude, and they don't really believe that these type of things happen to good people.
Really fucking ridiculous.
Listen to me. Just
Okay,
listen to
I'm
me.
listening here.
Just listen to me.
Let me hear
When
this.
it's something to benefit you,
Okay. How's it going to benefit you? Monetarily?
it didn't say. It just said something to benefit you.
Was it a female? Was it a male?
I don't know.
Did she fight back?
I don't know what she did. I didn't do it to her. This is what I'm trying to get you to see. It's just something to benefit me.
You know when all
And it
this
told
comes
me,
out.
and
Listen,
it told me where to look. When I went there,
That was a
I
good
was going to look.
tell me what it said.
fourth
Tell me what
repeat
it
the
said.
question
Verbatim.
right there.
I want to hear what it said.
Something to benefit you.
Okay,
And
just
it told me where to go.
into the pot of gold. There's a rainbow hitting on that
It-
bridge.
it-
Did you know where to go? What
It
the
told me
fuck?
where to go.
Where
What'd it
did
say?
it tell you to go?
Across from the DT Christian Center. Across from DT Christian Center at the bridge. Something to benefit you.
Where was this note left out?
It was left right in the corner of my mirror on the driver's side.
Where? In Pensacola or Bruton?
In Pensacola.
Okay. That's bullshit
What
because it
time?
fucking rained.
It's this much of it hanging out. All honesty. This much of it hanging out. This is when I left.
To
And
go
it's-
where?
The interrogator
Where
can't
were you
believe
going?
this shit.
To work.
No, man, you'll hear some crazy stuff. He's literally pulling out the one-armed man defense from The Fugitive back in the 60s. One-armed man did it, man. It wasn't me. I was framed. I know it's weird, but it's a one-armed man out there that killed this little girl.
I absolutely love that. That's fucking bullshit. That was good.
Yeah, let's see how let's see if they can walk this in.
Why didn't you drive over there then?
Because I didn't see it till later.
You had
Actually, I want to make a point. Jason, what do you know now if you're sitting inside that or if you're quarterbacking this? What do you know now? What's going to happen?
Oh, he's going to jail.
But he's also going to confess, right? You know
Yes.
you got him in the bag.
Yes.
Folks, what he's already done, he's going to apply the mitigating circumstances like he did with his conviction, which I think is a very good example in this case. It's not always that clear, but this one is extremely clear. When he talked about assaulting, and you got to listen to the whole story, and this is all recorded, you can go back and listen to it, where he says, oh, I had a relationship with a girl that was in high school with. She was a year younger than I. She got pregnant. We'd been doing this all summer. She got pregnant. Her grandmama was real religious, and they claimed that it was sexual assault because she wouldn't have done that because she's a good girl. And then it goes on to like, well, that same night I had sex with her, that she got pregnant. There was this other girl that was there, and we had sex too. This, of course, it was all consensual. But when grandma said that I raped her granddaughter, then the other one claimed that I was the victim here. I didn't know any of that. I was just, somebody said, come here, this sex is going to benefit you. And I did. And then, boy, lo and behold, I was in prison for 15 years because I was a complete victim. It's exactly how he described his double sexual assault for his 15-year stint in the state penitentiary. But now this is unfolding the same way, but it's like a layer, an onion. This is the first layer. Man, I might have been there. This covers everything without me being a piece of shit killing a little girl. And this is how it went. And let's see how go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say before you play it, I want to ask Lamar, are you any predictions about what the interviewers are going to say next? I'm looking for an affirmation. Given this development, I'm looking for some point where the interviewers are starting to say, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense, but there's still this part that doesn't quite fit. You get that sense coming up?
I do. I get the sense that he's close to just leveling with them, but he's going to tiptoe into it.
Jason, do you think they're going to back off on like I might understand this or that makes sense?
No, they're aggressive right now. There's no way they're backing off right now.
No, he's either lawyering up or confessing. One of the two. This room is going to keep getting smaller. I agree with Jason. I don't think that there's going to be any letting off the gas at this point.
plenty of time. You were only going to meet a friend.
I didn't see it till later. When I went to work, not when I went to meet the friend.
And that's all it says, something to benefit you.
DT
Was it a fucking
Christian Center.
fortune cookie?
I have no idea. It says something to benefit you.
Was it handwritten?
Yes.
Did it say when to meet there?
No, it just says something to benefit
Okay, so
you.
you find the shit at
Christian
1 o'clock in the afternoon when you start going
It
to
wasn't
Bruton.
1 o'clock.
What
It
time did
was
you go?
later.
1:30.
It was when I went back at like 4.
So when you came back at 4, it's in your mirror.
I mean, this is when I noticed it in my mirror at 4. It may have been early, but I didn't notice it until I went back
So-
to work after 4.
Tell me what is going to be there. You're talking.
I have no
listen
idea.
to me.
I have no
It's
idea.
at 4 o'clock. So in what 9 more hours, you decide that you're going to run by there.
I
and
didn't see it until later. I didn't see it, so we were done working. And I went out to my car, and that's when I seen it that evening.
Okay,
Matter of
so
fact,
you
it
just,
was- matter-
you just said that you
matter of
saw
fact-
it when it was at your house. See, that's another fucking lie.
I said it was sticking out. I didn't say I seen it when I was there. I said it had to be put there because when I left earlier, I didn't see anything.
There's a fracture.
When I left earlier, I didn't see anything.
Robert,
Yes, sir.
that is the absolute silliest bullshit that I've ever heard.
Said something to benefit me. I look.
That sounds like
I
fortune
see that.
cookie to me.
Me, no. It was a handwritten note, piece of paper.
Okay, let me ask you this: Did it
About-
have directions to get there?
No, it didn't.
It just said
It
across
told me
from
across
the-
from
DT
Christian Center.
Christian Center. How do you know what DT Christian Center is?
Because it's by a bunch of church there before.
You've been to church over there? I asked you earlier if you've ever been to Lincoln Park, west of Highway
But I didn't-
29,
okay,
north
you-
of the
you-
interstate.
Okay, but I didn't know that was Lincoln Park.
Well, I went further past it when I said,
all I know is the churches over there. As far as what the neighborhood is called
okay.
and what street it's on, I don't know anything about that.
But when I said Lincoln Park, you said, no, I don't know where that's at. And I said the area west of Highway 29, because we made sure that you went up to 9 Mile Road, you went west on 9 Mile Road to Highway 29, and you go to work to Bruton, north on 29, right? And I said the area west of 29, north of the interstate. Nope, I've never been there before. Nope.
And I said that.
Establishing that he's a liar. He's been caught in a lie. So I can't really believe anything else you say. This is a complete setback for this guy in his mind.
Nothing else. I said that.
Okay. And this was after you drove around over there, right?
Mhm.
That Wednesday night
Mhm.
when you got off of work, or into Thursday morning, however you want to, past midnight, you got off work and you drive back to Pensacola. And then you drive around over there. You
His
know,
shoulder-
absolutely, you would have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than
His
you would
shoulders
just
right now are saying,
haphazardly,
"Oh, shit."
randomly stop there. Can we agree on that?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. You see how silly that sounds? Very.
I bet his ears are ringing so loud he can barely hear the question.
I know you don't believe me. But I didn't kill it.
What? See, I thought we were getting somewhere, and you pulled some fucking
I know
bullshit
you
on
don't,
me.
I know you don't believe me.
Yeah, fuck no, I don't believe you. Fuck no. You cannot tell me y'all are next door fucking neighbors. She goes missing that afternoon, and you're driving around where she's dumped at. Not only driving around, you fucking stop. You come back by, you're over there for like 9 fucking minutes. 9.
We would jokingly call that the shame position.
Doing
that he's doing
circles.
right now. He's done. He knows it.
I like the part in the interrogation where this detective is. It is crew served weapon. You just keep pounding. You keep pounding him. You beat him with his own lies.
You know why? Because you're fucking nervous. You don't know where to put her. Because you don't know the area. Because you're from Bruton. And you couldn't have dumped her ass up to Bruton because they'd have known it was you. Because you knew we were going to be out there looking. So you had to bring her back. She had to be dumped in Pensacola.
I agree, Corey, by wood chipper.
I couldn't imagine the stress building up in you over there that night coming home. Fuck. Police gonna get behind me? Am I gonna get fucking stopped? I got a fucking body in my car. Where in the fuck?
Anybody going to predict crying? Will we actually have crying? Jason?
The way this is going, yeah. I mean, yeah.
High possibility. Lamar?
Yeah, his body language, he's holding it as much as he can. The covering the face, the leaning in, the desperation position. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks down and then just confesses outright.
And I don't know. I actually hadn't seen the full confession. I was kind of rolling through this, and I know it is. I know there's going to be one. So I haven't heard the confession myself, but I'm going to vote for there will be tears.
Fuck am I gonna put her? Here, let me, right here. This is where I'm gonna do it. And then you see those fucking headlights shine. Goddamn, here comes a car. Holy shit. Let me get out of here. Fuck. Still got her in the car. Gotta get rid of her. Do or die. I gotta do it now. Here we go. Stop the car. Let me get this bitch out of the car. Fuck it. Right here. Throw it in the water. Fuck it. Dump. Gone. I got away with it. I'm done.
I think you might be crying already.
Stress go away now.
I'll need to see some wipage.
I bet you shit. Lauren called and said, "Holy shit, the FBI's over here, going door to door."
So that position he's in, we would. I don't think there's a fixed term for it, but it's emotional guarding. So he's covering his face and he has one hand over his abdomen or core. It's one of those involuntary physiological responses to extreme stress.
I agree with this assessment.
Mr. Howard, we need to talk to you at the sheriff's office again. Oof. There goes that stress again. Walked out here this afternoon. Whew. They got them snowed. Now we followed you all the way from Bruton. All the way to the house. Ruh-roh. Get out of the car. Got it. Made. Going back upstairs. Road. Who are all these people? Ruh-roh. We got the right person. We don't need you to say anything. The only thing that you can say is, I didn't mean for this to happen. And that's what's got to come out of you tonight. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Made a fucking mistake.
That's a great angle.
All is not lost.
Tell us the angle, Jason. Explain it.
Lightening the blow. I didn't mean for this to happen. Rather than I raped and killed a little child. I didn't mean for this to happen. He's trying to soften the blow to him.
I agree.
But tonight's the night. I'm gonna help you through it. I'm gonna help you through it. To take that weight off your heart.
You gonna help me through?
Yep.
How you gonna help me through?
You will sit in fucking prison for the rest of your life, never knowing when your fucking time a car is punched where they're going to give you that dirty needle.
Help
How can
me
you help?
help you.
I understand what you're saying, but I think, y'all, I mean, y'all sit here and y'all look at my demeanor. I mean, don't think one time that I don't give a shit. I don't care. I mean, I know you may see or feel that my attitude or the way I may speak or the things I may say may show different, but don't think for 1 second that I don't give a fuck now.
You feel bad?
You damn right I feel bad. I mean, I told them, I really hate that this happened.
Why did it happen? Look at me. Look at me. We're past all that shit, Robert. We're past
What
that.
kind of help can I get?
What kind of help can you get?
Yes.
Let me make this to you. I can't make you any deals or promises, but what I can do is tell the state attorney that Robert Howard came in here and he owned up to his mistake.
PSA, that is
Called it.
bullshit. Do not ever believe that when a police officer tells you that. Man, I really can't help you out with it, but I'm gonna tell him you were a good dude, and sometimes that goes a long way. It won't.
I've said that so many times to people.
I almost it just doesn't even feel right. It's so non-believable. But yeah, I've said it too. Sometimes it does work.
Because there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We got the right fucking person. Okay? And we can prove it. Tell me what happened.
There's the head rub.
I need something for sure and right.
I can't hear you.
I said I need something for sure and right. I mean, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to get to the point where I'm too old to not see my son do something. I need something in writing that, saying, well, after X amount of years that, I would go to the street.
Okay. There may be hope for you, Robert. But before we can get to that, you got to be able to explain this.
Well played. Well fucking played.
I can tell that you're not a
Can't
bad
put that
dude.
in the writing, man. I know you're being going to
You
straight.
speak well.
Own up to this. Be responsible.
I just need this in writing saying that, I guess I knew you said you can't make me no deals. You can't. I just need something in writing saying.
How about this? We'll talk about this, and I will give you my word that I will go to the state attorney, and I will say, he came in here, we did a little dance, but he found it in his heart to talk about this, and he owned up to it. Whatever happens down the road is going to be up to them. Okay? But the problem is this 12 years old, grown man.
Uh-oh. Did he just take the victim's photograph and turn it over?
Yeah.
Why?
Take the person out of the crime.
Yeah,
Now-
it's to remove a degree of the guilt to make the confession that much easier.
Very good. Very good. Interesting, though.
Murders her, and then it's like, I didn't do it, I don't know nothing about nothing.
All right, folks, we're getting
I
down
told
to
you what I'd do for you.
that last half hour.
I'll
I'm
tell
going to
that
bounce
straight
through this
straight.
dancing
He
portion.
came in here, he talked to me.
But okay, you telling him that? I mean, that's still not telling me or guaranteeing me anything as far as the percentage for you.
And I can't do that for you, brother. I can't guarantee you anything.
If he,
It's very
Yes,
wise
I
for the
know.
observers to
Hey.
understand that this sole interrogator now has it, and not to
Yeah.
send in the other guy again. This is great.
No, you don't want to interrupt
I can
the
tell you
flow.
this: if you don't get right, you'll never see the light of day.
I understand that too. I understand.
Want to be executed?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
How do you think that can promise you 20 years? And I
You
can't.
say you can't.
And I
But
can't.
the thing, and I say the thing of, at least, I want to say, can you can talk to him first. I mean, if he's willing to sit down and talk, I'll sit down and talk to him myself. I mean, I don't know how much he may listen to, or how much he may get from. I'm pretty sure he probably wouldn't have shit to say to me. Probably wouldn't want to talk.
I don't know that.
I mean, I know you don't understand it. You other folks,
Yolanda?
no.
Different one?
Did they find the candy in her mouth?
Yes.
They found the candy in her mouth.
Yes. What was it?
It was candy.
What kind of candy?
I have no idea. I just know she was eating candy.
Okay.
You know,
When she came out of the house?
she was eating it when she approached me. She was eating it.
You gotta speak up because I'm about fucking half deaf.
Nice. Say it louder for
So
the
she
mic.
comes out of the house eating candy. Were you sitting in your car? Coming out of your house?
I need help. I mean, I need some kind of help. I need to. I mean, if who is this you say you were going to talk to?
State attorney.
Is that where I can talk to the state attorney?
Probably not at 4 o'clock in the
I
morning.
understand.
3 o'clock in the
in the
morning.
morning, but whatever the earliest convenience that if you will.
We probably make something happen. But we're gonna have to talk about this. She comes out of the house eating candy.
Oh, I need to talk to him first. I need to talk to him. I really need to talk to him.
Did he just ask for an attorney?
I think he's talking states.
I know we need to talk about this, but if I can talk to him, I will talk about whatever y'all want to talk about.
Yeah, he's asking to talk to the prosecutor, but hadn't asked for his own attorney.
Just a minute. So they're gonna come down. Pass judgment on you to believe.
Praying hands, internal searching.
And you guys, you notice how the interrogator, especially since we've gone to this last phase, he hasn't taken
Well,
his
yes,
eyes
I
off
know.
this guy. Even when it's quiet, he's staring at it.
No. You just happen to see her coming back outside.
It's already outside.
You were? Where were you at?
And it just came down the steps.
Okay. Did she come out the door?
She had came out, she spoke. Spoke back. She said she didn't like my shoes.
She liked your shoes.
Pull it back here. And she said something that I didn't understand. So I said, what did you say? She was like, nothing. Went over to my car. Got 2 Powerades out of my trunk. She went in the hospital and went for wedding. And I came back out. Took my charger. Went to the car. And she said, yeah. And I asked her what she said. She told me, you heard. I said, no, I didn't. What did you say? And she was like, well, where's Lauren? I said, Lauren's at work. She said, can I come in with you? And I told her no, because she couldn't come in. So, she kept on. I let her come over. I let her come over. I kept telling her no. She walked over to the steps, and I was going up the steps. And she said, I'm coming anyway. I said, no, you're not. The further I went up, the further she came and go.
Once again, he's a victim. He protested throughout the whole.
When I make it to the door, she's at the top of the steps, and I tell her to go back home. Go home. Go home. She stands there, and she's like, why can't I come in?
Good though, the gate was just letting them talk.
You don't need to be over here. Leave. She starts back down the steps, close the door. I lock the door.
Yeah, this is not a point you interrupt.
She knocks on the door. I answer the door, and I ask her to leave again. As I walk back out on the balcony, because I didn't want no one to get the perception that I was trying to lure her in or drawing her in. I walk back out on the balcony. There's not no one in sight, no one. And I was like, man, on any particular day, there'd be 100 people around here. But in this instance, there's no one here. So, walk back to the end of the balcony. And I tell her just to go home. Again, go home. So she starts down the steps like she's going to leave. So when I turn around, she comes back again. When she comes back again this time, she walks all the way up on me like she's trying to brush up against me, telling me I'm scared of her. I'm like, I'm not scared of you, I just need you to leave. If something happened and somebody say something, then you got a problem.
Right.
There ain't gonna be no problem. There ain't gonna be no problem. So I don't go back to the house. I don't even go back in the apartment. I go sit on the steps. And I'm trying to wait on her just to leave because I don't want no problems about her being around the door.
Right.
So when I go get up and I go throw some in the garbage, she comes right over to the garbage can right here. Walk back up the steps. Walk back in the house. She's coming back up the steps. She comes to the door. So when she gets to the door, I stand at the door and talk to her. She stands there and she's making gestures to me. Can she come in? Can she come in with me? I said, no, you can't come in. I said, because we're going to get in trouble. If you come in here, we're going to get in trouble.
Is she coming on to you a little bit?
She's trying to.
Okay. Is she grabbing on you at all? Grabbing your dick?
No, she hadn't grabbed me, but she's coming really close to me.
Right.
She's coming really, really close. And so, we still standing at the door. She's like, I'm about paranoid because you got this 12-year-old girl standing at the door. And, so
that question he asked about her coming on to him was really
still
smart.
trying to come in. By now, she's like
in aid, where it was basically because he could see he's defensive. It helps him just keep talking. He was giving him another out.
No, 100%. You'll see that a lot, especially in sexual assault investigations. Do you have something, Jason?
No, I totally agree. He's trying to basically pushed the blame back on the girl, like he was coming on to you or she was coming on to you. And yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah, anything to give him some sunlight that you're not as big as a shitbag as people are going to call you or to think you are right now. And guys, we are really running over on time. I may bounce this a little bit, although I want to get the story out of the very end of this. So, but I may bounce it because he does seem to spend a lot of time talking about all the things he did to protest this young lady's presence in his apartment.
In the doorway trying to come in. And I still want her to come in. What you say? And she was like, don't worry about it. So she's still standing there. So right when I close the door, she grabs the knob, tries to open it. I said, get away from the door. Just let you get away from the door. I really don't. And at this time is when she didn't grab my dick, but she grabbed it like my shirt, the bottom of my shirt, like she was trying to. And so when I grabbed the wrist, told her to stop, look, seriously, you need to leave. And so like she trying to snatch away, like she's, trying to fight back. And she's keeping on. And I really didn't mean for things to go the way they did. I didn't try to hurt the child, but before I realized I had choked her out.
How? Just around the neck?
Around the neck. I choked her out around the neck. And I said I didn't really mean for it to happen. I didn't mean to do it. I heard when she was found. That's why I said I would really like for them to take a DNA test, because they said when she was found, she didn't have on no bottom. She was fully dressed. I never took any of her clothes off. I never took anything anywhere. She was fully dressed.
Damn, he's still lying.
I took both her. She had
In a child killer's
I even
a little bit
took her
better than
slides
being a baby raper in it.
and left them with her.
At the creek?
Yes. I said, all this stuff, she didn't have on no bottoms and stuff like that. I don't know nothing about that. I choked her out, yes. I'll admit that I did choke her out, but I did not. That's why
So it takes a long time to kill somebody by
DNA
choking.
test. No, do this line second. No, did I have sex with her in my car? No, I didn't do any of that.
I mean, what pushed it to the point of, was it like playing around?
No, it really,
Just made you snap?
Just really, really pissed me off, because I'm trying to tell the child, Lee, you have to be very careful about whatever you do, and it's pissing me off because, okay, you're doing this, but you don't know how this is making me feel. I'm pissed because, okay, here's a 12-year-old child. Now, just say somebody walked in. Lauren walks in.
Joe, can you pause?
Her mom just somebody.
Yes, sir.
What he's doing right now is he's admitting to murder, but not raping a 12-year-old child.
100%.
And he's raping a 12-year-old is a very bad impression on him, more so than killing a child. That's what he's in self-preservation mode right now.
Yes, and guys, I'm going to have to fast forward this. We're going to skip some of his story. It takes a long time to it. I'm just going to bounce it all the way through to the end, and we're going to end it. For those of you on X, we will do an after party, a short one tonight. After party for this. Anybody wants to join? Anybody that's watching, if you want to hit me up on YouTube or you want to hit me up on X, we just started this. Tonight's the first episode of it. I would like some feedback on what we can do to make it better. I've already got some editing ideas that I'm thinking about. But anything else that you guys see that we could do to put on a better show, we welcome the criticism.
See her walking, her mom walks in. Okay, and they see her, and the first thing they're going to say is, what you doing? I seriously don't know.
Okay.
I really don't.
She goes out, and then you're like, oh, fuck. Realize what happened. Then what?
At first, I'm thinking that she's kind of bullshitting and so when I see that she's not bullshitting, I really just panic from that point.
What you wrap her in?
I didn't wrap her in anything.
Okay. Where'd you put her?
She's in the car.
Where at?
In the back seat.
In the back seat. So you grab her, carry her downstairs, and put her in the back seat.
Honestly, I didn't know what to do. I felt if I tried to take her to the hospital, hurt, killed, damn near killed, anything. I'd ride the broom just trying to figure out what I need to do, what I need to do.
Did you call anybody?
The house. I walked in the house and I sat on my bed for a minute.
Did you bring her inside?
No, I didn't.
Left her in the car?
I left her in the car. I left her in the car. I knew I couldn't get her out. I wouldn't have needed trying to take her. Like I told him earlier, where my house is, there's nothing blocking anything from my front door or my back door. So it didn't cross my mind. I just didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I just
So you
really
get in
didn't
the
know what
car.
to do. So I get in the car and I come
You
back
go
to
back to
Pensacola.
Pensacola.
I come back to Pensacola. I come all the way back to the house, come back to the apartment. I go in the apartment, and the whole time I'm still trying to figure out what to do with this body. I go upstairs, and when she asked me that, my heart just sank.
Because you knew they
I
were
already knew they were looking for her.
and she's in your back seat.
She back there in my backseat dead. And I'm like, well, I mean, I can't tell them that she's in my backseat dead. I mean, so I said, no, ma'am, I haven't. And she,
Wow. Talk to the
and
mother.
his mom was like, well, it's my little girl. So you know my little girl. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So, it's going to smell. Somebody's going to find it. And I tried to think of everything I could think of. And I just kept coming my initial, when I finally just decided, okay, I got to dump it somewhere. I just got to dump it. But I didn't know where. I said, well, I can't take it to, put it in no dumpster nowhere because it's easy to be found. So, my initial thought was to just keep going 29 south. How this bridge folds. I didn't sleep. I just sat there and thought about what the fuck have I done?
So when you brought her outside, you carried her. You didn't have to drag her or anything.
No, I didn't have to drag her.
Okay.
I don't know.
Robert, it's not going to matter one way or another whether you had sex with her
I didn't know.
or not.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you and I'm letting you honestly know.
Okay.
All shit aside, I did not touch her sexually.
Not at all.
No, I did not. That's why, like I said, I didn't touch her sexually. Like you said, and like I just told you,
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you gave it to her.
I never did anything sexual with her.
Did you show it to her?
No.
Come on.
I'm
Why now?
I'm not. I mean, hell, I done told you basically that I done killed the child, but
You did.
I mean, I didn't see my dick. I mean, I don't know, but I didn't show it to her, and I didn't do anything to her sexually. Like I say, I mean, everything was with her when I dumped her. And they said they found.
What was it that she said to you that made you mad?
It's just that she kept trying to. It's like she kept trying to advance. It's like even when I would tell her no,
Third,
took it too far. Hell, man. Oh, I want to spend my life with her.
I understand that. And you may not. You came in here, told your story. I can tell it bothers you.
For telling, I mean,
Let me tell you what would have been bad. What would have been bad if you stuck to your fucking bullshit and said you don't know nothing about nothing, and we proved it wrong, and
Yeah, dude, there's another
Jerry
route.
gets
Call
up there
an attorney.
and sees.
get everything together.
Everything you told me the truth.
Yes, sir.
You feel better about it now?
I mean, I hate it happen. And if I could go back and do it all over again, I would. I just leave her ass there knocking.
I understand.
There we go, folks. That's our first episode. Let's go around. I'd like the opinions of my panel tonight. And folks, I kind of talked them into doing this. So I hope they enjoyed it. If this goes well, everyone wants to continue to participate. We're going to do this every Wednesday night, same time. We're going to get it down to 2 hours. I'll have to be better on my editing. But I swear, at every point that I cut a lot out, but every point I wanted to cut something out, I'm like, oh, no, that's a good point in there. And this is a good point of discussion. But feedback, guys. What did you think about tonight? Let's go to Lucian first.
Like I said at the beginning, this is a very different scenario that I'm used to. And that's why when I made the comments earlier about, where I thought they were going next, I'm still trying to maintain an even basis. This is enlightening for me to see the other side of the house for a while. And to kind of compare the goals. I mean, there's obviously some crossover for a lot of techniques, but I enjoyed this. I learned quite a bit about the differences. And I think it's going to be an interesting show to watch develop.
I think so. And also intelligence interrogation videos that are in English are really not as available as law enforcement, but I'm looking for some, and I will find some examples of non-law enforcement interrogations so that we can have some in there for you guys, for your expert eye to see as well. Although I would venture to say you guys picked up on everything that Jason and I did. So I'll give you an expert eye on even these type of interrogations. But Lamar, what did you think about all this?
I really enjoyed this. I admittedly was a pig in shit. It felt like the good old days, Joe. So thank you for the invitation to even participate in this. I find human behavior, physiological response psychology fascinating. So being able to kind of pick apart in Monday Morning Quarterback one of these interrogation sessions is really cool. And it's even funner to do it with an awesome group of guys.
Thank you. That sounds like 2 votes. At least 2 people are coming back. Jason, what do you think?
I like the fact that there's I think the show could actually show the different types of interrogations. That in this case, this was the goal of the investigators was to get a confession, and walking through that point to where he started to where it finished is classic. And I've been in those things where you got a cocky guy who at the end is literally crying, and you walked him through that process. And then you take a narcotics case, and the goal is different. It's to flip this guy. And to have Lucian and Lamar in here where their goals with what they do are different, I think is a very interesting analysis we could do with different types of interrogations. And it all comes down to what's the goal? What are we looking for here? And in this case, it was a confession. But there's other interrogations where the goal is not a confession. It's a bigger picture to move forward with information to get a bigger fish. So I like where this is going.
Good. And I believe I'll be able to find some narcotics, and we'll call them interviews. Interviews are a little bit different. It's when you don't have someone in custody as a suspect, or they're not a suspect of the crime. But the interviews go slightly different, and I'm really looking for some of the intelligence service videos. But once again, even if they're old, they still could be classified because that's what these gentlemen are speaking of. So I haven't found any yet, but I've got some mines that I'm mining in. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and end it because it's been an extra long show. I don't want to do 3-hour shows, but we have just under 300 people watching live. So my hat's off to you guys out there. If you're not a member of our X community, the Night Court community, you should be. But I really would like to get some feedback on it. Got some from Bradley. Bradley says it's a good show. It's difficult to listen to. I don't know if he's talking about us talking and no one wants to, or are he talking about the subject matter of a small child being murdered for no damn reason at all is what this really was about. But I've got pleasure in that was uncomfortable for this gentleman, and he's got a lifetime of uncomfortableness ahead of him because of it. So I do look at it that way. All right, guys, give me about 20 minutes. We'll kick off an after party space on X. If you've never been to one of our after party spaces for you guys watching and listening out there, I suggest you do so. They're quite some fun. We can pick up the discussion in there. Thank you, panel.
Thanks for hosting, Joe. Good show.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See you in a bit.